in tenebris, ignis Dei ardet in cordibus, gloria Filii resurgentis, Redemptor mundi rex gloriae. Christus victor aeternus est, rex regum, ex Dominus Dominorum, alleluia, alleluia, gloria in excelsis Deo. Celi tremunt ad nomen eius, inferi cadunt sub pedibus, omnis lingua confitebitur, Iesus Christus est Dominum. Christus victor aeternus est, rex regum, nos Dominus Dominorum, alleluia, alleluia, gloria in excelsis Deo. Hosanna in excelsis, coram agnus Domus sancti, cantate nova canticum, gloria Deo, gloria Deo. In sanguine suo lavit nos.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is me, the Layman Apologist. Today I am joined with my good friend Colton. Colton, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good, brother. Good to hang out with you today for a little bit.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this. This is just a chilled live stream, folks. We see some of you already on the channel at the minute. I was just laughing with Colton behind the scenes there. I went to switch over to bring Colton and I up on stream, and I almost hit click end live stream, and praise the Lord by his good graces, that in the software it asks you to reconfirm if you want to end software, because I've used software before, Colton, not necessarily streaming software, but like you click end, it ends.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, and like it wouldn't have took too much longer to get restarted, but like Rumble's a nightmare to try and like. Have you ever streamed in Rumble, Colton?
I have never attempted to do so. No.
Well, it's really good for multiple reasons. Like they pay you automatically out of the gate. Now, in the beginning, you're going to be earning nothing. Like I think out of like 4 videos, I've made like a cent.
Yeah.
So like it's going to take a while, but at least there's no like monetization type thing to go through. But the downside about Rumble is like whenever you want to set up a stream, like you can't do it. Like you use EVMux now as well, don't you, for your streams?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so you know the way you're able to just set up multiple destinations like YouTube X, etc. You can do that with Rumble, but then you actually have to go into Rumble, set up the stream completely fresh, get the streamer keys, all that information, and then put that in the EVMux. But anyway, we are going to be going over a few things today, folks. Nothing major, but I popped this up and forgot to put it down. Based Homemaker says, looking forward to this one. She's been in the chat for quite a while. Good to see you, sister.
Yeah.
Sam's here with the eyeballs, and then she replies later on with "Hey, delayed." We see Kid Fury. Shalom, brother. Good to see you. Per Kid Fury, I was telling Colton here behind the scenes, he his X account got hacked today, so per brother has to put up with that. So if you do want to follow him over on X, there he is. you say you've got the same handle, bro, but surely it must be slightly different unless your previous account got taken down. But anyway, let us know. Um, Zach Burnham, hey all, always good to see Colton. Awesome.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
You know Zach, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, he's one of my Discord bros as well. We like to
Ah,
hang
there we
out.
go.
Yeah,
I was gonna
yeah,
say, we have multiple Zachs on this channel,
yeah.
and I'm not actually kidding. Plus, one of the co-hosts is obviously called Zach. So anytime a Zach pops in the comments, I'm always like, hang on a minute, which one?
Which Zach is
Yeah,
this? Yeah,
yeah. No, I did a live stream. I don't think it was. I think it was Sunday night. Sunday night. Now, we gained a lot as well. I gained a lot of subscribers for that, which is good. But I also had to put out a statement afterwards. Like, I am not a normally a reaction based channel. I don't. I'm not. If you're here thinking that I'm going to become one of those YouTubers that constantly reacts to drama, I am not the channel for you. Just a fair warning. I will react to stuff as and when I need to, but just so you know, I'm not going to be chasing down drama. But the reason I bring that up is a brother very kindly sent I think like a Facebook group over our way, Colton, and we gained quite a few subs from that. And
nice.
he did not feel comfortable, I think, using my link at the bottom, so he asked if I could place a QR code. So we now have a QR code at the bottom of the screen. That is there if you wish to give to the channel. Any money that goes into the channel stays within the channel. It'll be used for microphones, lights, etc. Um, so if you want to give, that's the way you can give. But also, Colton, you are a guest, so let me bring up. You have a store like I do, where people can support your channel and also get really cool merch. So let me bring this up. Go full screen. Okay, so this might be slightly cut off for our audience. I do apologize, but I think you can see the merch well enough. So, Colton, talk us through some of this because even since the last time I brought you on, you've got even more merch again. So, we've got post Tenebras Lux glass. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Pint glass?
Yeah, there's a pint glass and then some mugs and a tumbler and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little fun with the sort of October month type stuff.
Yeah. No, I was going to say these sell very well, the travel mugs.
Yeah, yeah, those are awesome.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, I like the hoodie, bro.
yeah, got a hoodie.
Mm.
There's my
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's my Kiwi guy.
So, feel free to ask Colton about the Kiwi in the chat. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how much info you'll get out of him, but
yeah,
yeah, bro, this is really good. Like comparatively to whenever you first had your store up and running, like yes, you had some merch up, but
yeah,
you weren't really putting a lot of effort into, or not a lot of effort. Sorry, you weren't putting a lot of focus
yeah,
into it.
for sure.
As we're now, it's great to see this because like people honestly love this because it's a way of giving to a content creator that you support but
Yeah,
also feeling like you get something in return. So, not that that's the reason people give, but it's better, at least in my mind, it's better than just giving and not like.
yeah, yeah, for sure. No, it's kind of fun to make a few things like that, and I haven't sold very much to be honest, but I have it there. It's available. So,
Hey,
um,
it happens from time to time, brother. Like my store is fairly active because, like, I honestly am throwing, yeah, nearly turned into Mike Tyson there with a lisp. I am so thankful for the group of people that God has placed me around. Like, they're fantastic in their giving, and I really do appreciate it. But to be honest, sometimes the merch store can be a little bit dry. Other times it picks up. It just depends, and like it's just nice to have. Uh, there, the Obro show. There,
Kiwi
welcome,
Army.
Kiwi Army.
Yeah,
Indeed, indeed.
I love those guys. They're fun.
Yeah, yeah. So Josh has now started writing on Lyman. So
Yeah, I saw that. That's
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. His first article will be out on Friday. I just have to pop it over to Substack and reformat it. Obviously, once we have more of a relationship up with some of the other writers, I am going to hand over admin duties, maybe do like a Sack or a Gabe, and they'll be running that side of things, and then it frees me up more to concentrate on YouTube stuff because YouTube is my most neglected platform. Like, yes, we do live streams, but if you look at my actual video output, it's low, and unfortunately, YouTube punishes you for that. Like,
Yeah.
I was reading the other day there, if you're not making like, I think it's like 2 to 3 videos a week,
Hmm.
they like push you down in the algorithm. So like you're not even really searchable. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like that's tight going. 2 to 3 videos a week.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of it's bummer that they do that, and that's for the most part. I try to at least do 2 videos a week, but
Hmm.
I haven't been here lately. Honestly, I just got kind of a little burnt for a second.
Oh yeah,
Needed a break, but yeah, they definitely want you to do more stuff to
yeah,
to get your face out there.
and like it's understandable from them from like a marketing strategy, but like
Yeah.
if anybody, this is why I can't tell you how many times like this comment's never been put to me personally, thankfully, because like I think you would be hard stretched to say I'm trying to make a career out of YouTube, but I do have like a lot of friends in my personal life that would be like, "Oh, YouTube is so cringy. Like, I don't know how people do videos over there and stuff." And it's like, okay, that's your opinion, but like, I do YouTube over there. Like, am I cringy just because I want to talk about like theology and things like that? So
Right.
sometimes you just get people that like dump on stuff and like they're saying it for the sake of it, but where I was going with that is YouTube obviously rewards you the more you put out, but for
Yeah.
anyone that would try and say like, oh, like YouTube is such like an easy job, you just sit in your butt and you like get passive income. Brother, like you
No.
know this as well as I do. Like I don't even put out half the content you do. I put out 2 very small videos recently, both under 3 minutes. Both the making, like the filming and the editing of those 3 minute videos, takes me far longer than whenever I sit down and maybe do like an hour's recording and I just chop off the front and the end and stick it on YouTube.
Yep.
Like, I don't think people realize how tiring it is.
Yeah. No. It's definitely work. And like the amount of money that I get from YouTube is not. I mean, compared compared to if I were just to go and do something part time with the same amount of hours that I put into, I would definitely do a lot better.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So it's really a work of passion. Like it's something you have to really like doing in order for you to keep doing it.
and that's the thing for a lot of us. It is like I can't say how many times I repeat here in multiple live streams. YouTube's a hobby for me. Like I get it.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it. That's fine. You don't need to like it. But like if this is my hobby or like my like thing that I enjoy doing, like I just love getting on and talking with people.
Yeah.
You don't need to like crap all over that idea just because it's not your hobby. Like if I did that to like one of your hobbies, like I'll come to his comment now in a minute, but I see like my good friend Olivian here, he's on the chat, like he paints miniature models. Now
Hmm.
that's not for me, but I actually really respect that because I know how much time and effort it takes. But
Yeah.
that would be like me as a friend being like, "Oh, you play with figures?" Like it's just
Right.
it's such a
Kind of condescending, right? Yeah.
ah brother,
Yeah.
honestly. But Colton,
Yeah.
here's a question for you, my friend.
Does a kiwi contain secrets? It does. Uh, only known to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing I've told everyone who's asked about the kiwi, and I'll say it here. I assigned a meaning to it in my own head and just put it up just to see what would happen. And then it started people talking and wanting to know, and I have never disclosed the meaning I assigned to it to anyone.
Nor should you, because then it loses power.
Yeah, yeah, it does. So it's just a fun thing, you know. It was really a response to seeing all the different emojis in these different theological camps that I kept noticing. Like everyone's got like, I know Presbyterians tend to have the crown.
Mm-hmm.
The Baxter guys have the grapes. There's certain Baptist guys who have the badger in
Yep.
their deal. So like, and I think one of them I just learned recently. The buffalo is that Lutherans?
Lutheran, yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's all these, and I'm like, man, it's a wild world out there trying to figure out what all these mean. So I just threw one out there for fun, and I've been having a good time with it. It's good.
So there you go, Sam. You're not getting the secrets today, but keep digging. Then here he is himself, Mr. Onion Lover,
Yes,
the,
Onion Army.
the spam man himself.
Yeah,
Now, have you seen some of his spam creations?
I have. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, yeah. He refuses to try mine, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
You just take a popsicle stick, you stick it in the block of spam, you dip it in mayo, you freeze it for 24 hours, and you eat it.
Oh,
Beautiful.
I don't think I could do that, bro.
I want to see Olivia try it though. I just want to
Yeah.
see. I want to see if he's up to the challenge.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we've got here. The YouTube I can't speak tonight, brother. The YouTube algorithm can be deceiving. It depends on the type of content someone makes. There are some channels that upload only a couple of times a year, and it's very successful. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But I think that's mainly with channels that are, already established. They've got a loyal audience that waits for those videos. Because, like, this face it called, and this say you have a channel like take a channel Tim size, like what he's at, like 23,000 now or something, right?
Mhm.
Tim could honestly take a break, not necessarily live streams, but he could take a break from doing Bible videos, like Bible review videos for like 6 months, come back, drop a Bible review. And because he has an audience of 23,000, yes, that whole 23,000 is not going to show up, but he is going to still get thousands of views
Yeah.
because he has a large audience. So the algorithm, of course, pushes that. But if you're just a channel like, say, my size, and you're trying to even just break that 500 goal where you get access to all the features,
Mm-hmm.
that can be a nightmare to get to. And the annoying thing in my end, and I hope I'm not doing people's head in by complaining about this, is just 500's the goal for me. After that, I can come or go. I honestly am not too worried about the numbers, but the
Yeah.
frustrating thing for me is because I had my previous channel that had the 500 and I had access to all the features, I know what I'm missing out on.
Yep.
And while EV Mux does give me some workarounds, they're a lot more clunky.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, but folks, if you're not subscribed to the Obro Show, go over and give them a follow.
Yes.
Subscribe to them, help build their platform as well. Good dudes putting out good content.
One of the things I love about those guys, man, is they talk to almost anybody,
Hmm.
and they really want to have good conversations. They're genuine dudes, and I've seen them have. I've been on their channel once, and that was a lot of fun to hang out with them. But I've seen them have all sorts of people, and they're always good to watch. So highly recommend for sure.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing too, because that's something we can come on and talk about in a moment, Colton. Because we're more just chilled tonight, but I think it'd be a good topic as well. But I'll throw this out here, and then I'll get on to some of the comments, and then we'll come back into the actual topic. But that is something I have made a mission of mine as well. Like and I say this as a caveat within reason, I will pretty much interview anyone on this channel. Me interviewing them does not mean I endorse them or their views,
Right.
but I think you can learn a lot more about someone by what they actually say to you versus what other people say they say. Now,
Yes.
the reason why I say with caveat is yes, there are some people that, first of all, I wouldn't be platforming them anyway because they have a bigger platform than me. But what I mean by that is I would be hesitant to tie my name or the name of the channel to someone that, espouses like pure hatred or something to that effect. So I think wisdom needs to be involved. But I do think, yes, interviewing anyone or, interacting with people, I think it's a good thing. So,
For sure.
Olivian, I built my PC thinking I was going into YouTube back when Rings of Power was first coming out. I was going to commentate on it and criticize. I'm guessing you've mainly been criticizing it now, brother. Commentate on it and criticize it. I changed my mind after a few hours of OBS.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I feel you, brother. Now I don't use OBS, as you know. Colton, you ever use OBS?
I actually do use OBS, not to live stream, but I use it for recording all the time. Just recording straight to the hard drive and stuff like that.
Now, is it frustrating?
Not to me, but part of that is it was in the beginning. I've spent time kind of learning it. And before I got EV Mux, I actually was using it to live stream. Like I had some plugins and things that I figured out how to put in there and
Yeah.
all that. But it's definitely you got to have some time to put into it to get how to set up scenes and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. I can't even say. Well, I played around with it once to try and get something to work on stream. It wouldn't do it for me, and it was being really awkward. So I can kind of get on Livian's frustration there, because the one time I did try to use it, it was awkward, and it wasn't. I will say it's not user friendly in the sense of like, yeah, maybe what you're saying, Colton, the basic setup, sure, but
Hmm.
the more advanced things that you might need to play around with, I wouldn't say it's user friendly.
No, no, that it's one of the reasons I switched to using the EV Mux stuff is trying to stream to multiple platforms is a nightmare on OBS.
Mm,
So EV Mux just makes that a lot simpler.
yeah. AV Max honestly is great. Honestly, Olivia, I know you're busy. I'll not say what you have going on because I know it's your personal stuff, but if you ever do get the free time, I think you should maybe take it up. Use EV Max, like they do have a free version as well. I think you still get access to a lot of the same features. It's just you can't put your own like branding on it. You have to stick with the EV Max logo.
Yeah, I be interesting to hear his commentary on Rings of Power for sure. Because I, bro, I tried to watch. I made it. I think like 3 episodes, and I was like, I can't. I
Brother,
can't.
I didn't even try because like, first of all, I'm not someone that spends a whole lot of time watching like movies and stuff anyway. Like I'm not saying that I don't. I obviously do watch movies, but if you were to look at my screen time on my laptop or something, you would see I spend the majority of my time on YouTube. And it's
Yeah.
because I enjoy watching theology debates.
Right. Right.
Some people may be like, how on earth do you just sit there and like constantly listen to that stuff? But I often find that's how I sharpen my mind. Like half of the reason people, so like for example, sometimes, and Colton, you'll know who I'm referring to. We'll just not say their names out loud here because they're not on here. But there's some young men on X that we've both interacted with. Some of those young men come to me a lot to run stuff by me. And it's not because like I'm some super intelligent dude. It's just they know I have probably consumed like a
Yeah.
ton of information either through debate or
Right.
through reading or whatever. So like even if I can't, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Even if I couldn't give them a full breakdown, I would be able to give them enough that they'd be like, okay, yeah, I need to take that into consideration. So
Yeah.
that's because that's a question I get asked a lot too, and this is why my channel does exist. Because sometimes I get people coming on Colt and being like, how do I get into apologetics? Consume content.
Mm-hmm.
Now that can be book form.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of ministries still like they're not as popular anymore because obviously like the media has changed, but like a lot of ministries, especially Ligonier, they still put out like DVDs and stuff.
Yep.
So
Yep.
consume content like that. Listen to sermons online. Be careful who you listen to on YouTube. I will say that. But
Yes.
what about you, Colton? Any other things you'd throw out there to folk looking to get into apologetics?
No, I mean, I think what you said is right. I mean, you know, go go as much as you can to look at the sources and see what's there
Mm,
and see what people are saying. And that's you know this as well as I do right now. Like on X, Richard Baxter is like having a moment on
yeah.
X, um, and I see the back and forth and like here's what he said. No, he didn't say that. No, he didn't mean that. You need it, and so it's like, yeah, if you want to be able to engage with something like that, I ordered some books from Richard Baxter. I'm curious now. It's like I want to see more about what the man actually said.
Mhm.
Um, And so that you could take that with anything. Like if there's a topic you're interested in or a person or whatever, um, the best thing, the way you're definitely going to have trouble is if you just spout off an opinion without doing your due diligence. And I think we've all been guilty of that before. Like
Oh yeah, for
that
sure, for
that
sure.
happens. But to actually look into that stuff that you're whether you're talking about apologetics, where you're talking about speaking, like I know you, brother, are very passionate about with Mormons and Islam.
Yep, yep.
Um, yeah, if you're interested in that stuff, watch some debates between Christians and Mormons and Christians and those who are proponents of Islam, and read some books. That sound like Nacho Libre now. Read some books. Uh, but yeah, I don't think I could add to more of what you're already saying.
Well, well, to be honest, I think you added the best part. Read the source material if you can.
Yes.
And part of the reason I say if you can is sometimes source material, especially if it's on a particular topic, it may be a bit weighty. It may be beyond you, and that's
Yeah.
okay. There are works out there like. Funny enough, I don't want to go down too many side trails here. So Colton, remember me to come back onto the spot, okay?
Sure.
But I was talking to Zach. We talk about this a lot anyway, but we were talking in particular recently. He has a friend in real life. I'll not get into personal details too much, but like has started reading the Puritans a lot, and I gave Zach the advice: tell him to step outside of the Puritans for a while, and for every like I don't know, I forget exactly what I said, but like every 10 pages he reads of a Puritan, read some more modern authors as well.
Hmm.
So I said the problem that often happens with people that meet the Puritans is the Puritans are very rigorously holy in their writings. And that's not me saying, that they led a double life, but what I'm saying is like
Right.
by their own standards, like many of the Puritans like would constantly confess how sinful they are, how wretched they are, and like here's the standard. If you read the Puritans and that's all you're reading, you're going to come away despairing
Hmm.
sometimes. Because I've had that in my life where I'm like, my life is trash. It doesn't point to Jesus.
Mm.
And that obviously wasn't the goal of the Puritans.
Right.
Their goal was obviously, yes, we we want you to be reduced and Christ magnified. But sometimes that's not the play out. The play out is actually you become so despairing that you even forget about Jesus being your
Yeah.
savior. Like not forget that
Right.
he's your savior, but in the sense that you actually start coming away going, I don't even know if I'm saved.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
man.
sure enough, that's what started to happen to his friend. So
Mm.
thankfully, he's came out about that. He's came out of that now a little. But that's what I mean by be careful by what you read as well, because like you read too much of anything,
Hmm.
and you're going to be affected. But like Colton, I don't know. Do you ever have any experience with that yourself, like reading too much of the Puritans, or
Yeah. Not just the Puritans, but even other authors. When you get into uh, that vein, you can find yourself in that place, and the Puritans have definitely done that for me. To sometimes,
mm-hmm.
um, and even like the post Puritan stuff, like even Jonathan Edwards. I had a stint for a while where I was really into Edwards, and I still, man, I love Jonathan Edwards.
Yeah,
I so thankful for him. But sometimes, reading Edwards, it was like, oh, like just when you're down that trail, you feel like I need to come up for air for a minute,
yeah,
because man, if you go so deep into that, you can come away feeling I don't measure up. Edwards could be argued that Edwards was very Puritan like, even though he was after their time.
yeah. It's funny. The Puritan era is very clearly defined, but same way, like sometimes I think eras get blended in a lot of things. Edwards is one of those guys that gets called a Puritan, even though he was not
Right,
technically
right.
a Puritan. So, but like I've got no problem with that when people use that. Like some people nitpick and be like, "Oh, but he wasn't actually a Puritan." And it's like, yeah, but they weren't claiming that he was like a Puritan in the sense like he was a contemporary.
Right.
He he has written his work. Well, his works are fantastic. Obviously, like
Yeah.
Matt Everhard.
Yes.
His,
Yeah.
I can't wait till his Bible comes out in Edwards.
Oh, I'm so stoked on that, man. I'm really excited for that.
Now, speaking of Bibles, I don't want to go off because I've led off in several different trails here, but this is what happens when I have more of a chill stream.
That's
Plus,
all right.
folks, I do see your comments. We'll come to them now in a second. I want to bring up a Bible as well, Colton, for us both to react to. Now, I've already reacted to this because I did it on stream with him, but I cannot wait to get my hands on this Bible.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to originally what I was saying, it's okay if you are just getting into something and you read the source material and you go, oh, this is too weighty. That's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
Go away, find a video where maybe someone is breaking down the book
Mm-hmm.
or breaking down that person's beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
or go away and ask someone who maybe knows that person's beliefs more accurately. Break this down roughly. What's being said here? Because here's the thing: I'm dyslexic, not majorly, but I am minorly dyslexic, and it does affect me in reading and writing. Obviously, when you read really old authors, oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness!
Yes.
Now they can be confusing on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever someone newly picks up a book, and like say for example they do pick up someone like Baxter, because I see we have a couple more comments on here.
Mm-hmm.
Baxter's weighty, but
Mm-hmm.
they also did not write in the style that we write today.
Right.
So it's not contemporary English. So it can be weighty. It can be hard to read. There's
Yep.
a lot of run-on sentences, and they use words that sometimes aren't even used commonly anymore. So we're left with,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what's he saying here? Because I've even read some, not necessarily from Baxter, but do you know who? And again, it's funny because I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, he's not even scholastic," and no one's claiming he's scholastic. But there's such a push recently for scholasticism that you name anyone outside of that, it's like, "Oh no, he's not smart."
Right.
Um, but do you know who can be a nightmare to understand what he's trying to say at times? Where I mean, it's hard to even get through a page, never mind a chapter, because like you're stuck reading the same point over and over and going, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Thomas Watson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I have read the same 3 to 4 sentence phrase from Watson, and I'm left there. And Colton, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to like be arrogant. I'm not a dumb dude,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
majorly intelligent either, but I'm not a dumb dude. I
Right.
sometimes come away reading Watson, and I'm like, bro's not speaking English.
Yes. Yeah. I totally get it, man. Like for me, I when I was starting to get into the Puritans, I had the bright idea, not knowing what I was getting into, that I'm
Hmm.
like, you know what? I'm going to start with John Owen. You talk about run-on sentences and
Yeah.
like, yeah, and that's when it was. I think it was years ago that when Doctrine and Devotion was still a podcast,
Yes.
um, Joe and Jimmy recommended John Flavel. And so I got in, and Flavel was like, okay, this is my guy. Like, I can roll with Flavel. And then I found out why is, he was a minister to seafaring people
Yeah.
that were more simple. They weren't super scholastic. And
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I can understand Flavel. So,
Yeah.
and I still to this day I have his collected works, and I have a huge affinity for him
I
for
only
that reason.
I only have one. Now, I think I have the majority of his works on monergism, but
Hmm.
I think I've only one of his physical books, but I've got no idea what it is because it's over in the corner and it's boxed up. Like most of my books are boxed up. I only have
Yeah.
the majority of these books you see behind me. They belong to the person's house who I'm staying in. These books that are facing outwards are just so that I can make it a little bit more of a set for YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, Colton, let me address some of these comments, but then let us
Yeah.
also come back on to something not only you just said, but something that you actually posted about recently on X too, and it brought up a pretty good discussion. But anyway, I had her comment up for ages, and I forgot to get back to it. I took it down because I realized that left her up for so long. But Sam says I like that. I think that's in reference to the
The
secrets of
kiwi.
Kiwi.
Yeah.
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 What is some good Irish fast food? Ah, you see now that's a question, brother. Um, Here's Ireland's secret. Our fast food consists of Chinese, Indian, uh, some Greek places, a lot of sushi places. The Irish don't really do fast food unless it's foreign. Now, don't get me wrong, we have got our traditional fish and chip shops and stuff, but that's not necessarily Irish, if that makes sense. Like, there's nothing there that's particularly Irish. Now, the only difference I would say is that whenever it comes to Christmas time, Northern Ireland is probably one of the only places in the world that we do a what we call a Christmas chippy, and it is basically, I'm sure other places do serve this, but just not in the way we do. If I can get a picture of it, I'll bring it up in a bit. But we would normally have like a giant Yorkshire pudding. That is the bowl. Inside, we would have our chips, or stuffing, or peas, or gravy, or mashed potato, um, many cocktail sausages, turkey, and ham. And you would get that out of a chippy at Christmas. So that's probably the best I could give you that is technically Irish, minus the Yorkshire pudding part. That's obviously not Irish, but as you can tell, the Irish just like stealing things. That's what we do best, brother. We just steal things. What we don't steal is there's none in here anymore, apart from a very small dribble. But I was telling Colton off stream, if you can get Thompson's Irish breakfast tea, that is the stuff that you need to be drinking. Best tea in the world, hands down. The Obro Show. I am probably unfairly skeptical of the Baxter mania that is ongoing. The hype is hard to deny, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I. So again, not to keep reference back to this, some of the young men that I am friendly with and work with on X are big into Baxter at the moment. I read Baxter years ago when I was a lot younger. I think it's safe to say I kind of forgot about him. Uh, Now that this sort of like rising tide of Baxterianism is growing again, I had to brush up on my Baxter knowledge. But what I would say is he is not as unorthodox as people think he is whenever you read what it is he is actually saying. The problem with Baxter is, and it's not even really a problem with Baxter himself. It's more the fact of he is incredibly scholastic, and he often words things in a way which I think people get tripped up over what the meaning of words are. And Colton, you can add into this now in a minute your thoughts on it. But what I would say is, normally whenever you hear Baxter out, and by hear him out, I obviously mean like read his thoughts.
Right.
He normally is pushing Orthodox Christianity. It may sound foreign to a lot of us, because he is using different words and phrases. But normally, when you get to the root of it, yes, there's going to be some differences here and there. But for those people that I've even seen people post online, Baxter wasn't a Christian. That's slander, and it's dangerous, and you are going to give account to God for that. So be very, very careful if you say that. Now, would I say Baxter is problematic in some areas? Personally, yes.
Yeah.
Totally, no. But anyway, Colton, what's your thoughts?
No, I agree with everything that you just said. I I am not super familiar with Richard Baxter, and that's why one of the reasons I'm wanting to kind of get to know the guy a little bit better. Um, you know, I am not the biggest criticism that you hear about Baxter is his view of justification. That's really the biggest thing that is pushed, and I've heard that criticism not just recently, but for years. That's been a common one, and that's one of the reasons why it's like I really want to dig in more to see what he actually said, uh, because it's on the rise right now. Because there's so many people who are either like really pushing him or really saying no, this guy is super dangerous. Um, I have people that I love and care about on both sides of that discussion. So I'm just, I think the biggest thing when it comes to reading any Puritan or theological work or anything, um, just be sure you're touching grass. And
Hmm.
what I mean is just what it's very. I believe it's in both of our catechisms, brother, that the word of God is the only certain rule of faith and obedience.
Yep.
So we go back to Scripture, and whoever you're studying, and I see the Obro show, and I understand that like it kind of gets annoying when you see it so much being talked about, and that's why like my kind of position on it right now is I don't really want to um, talk about that when I don't know. So I ordered some books. I ordered one that one of the brothers on Twitter republished some of his works on
Yes.
justification, and
Mhm.
I ordered that book, and I'm very curious about it. Um, so do I also have I read some things that I think are problematic? Yes, I do.
Mhm.
But to say the man was not a Christian, I just I cannot bring myself to think that a man like Joel Beakey would be publishing anything he wrote if he thought the man wasn't a Christian.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beakey has his criticisms, but um, I I trust Reformation Heritage Books quite a bit, and I don't think they would be putting content out from an unbeliever uh,
Yeah.
to their consumers. So that's
Yeah.
my 2 cents on it.
No, and I think that's wise, and obviously I know. By the way, just in case the audience are joining and thinking we're going at the Obro show here, we're not.
No,
we, we agree with them. So if you hear us saying like not a Christian, that's not coming from the Obro show.
no, no.
Um, but going back to that guy that posted that, now I don't know who he was. I just know that Jack Harper responded to him, and that's how I saw it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a dangerous thing to say. But
Mm-hmm.
see, this is the problem when it comes to these deep dives on theology. And I get it. You want to be passionate for the gospel. I think we should be.
Mm-hmm.
But we are so quick nowadays to, if we don't understand something, we are so quick to be like, that's heretical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's damaging to the gospel.
Yes.
You're not a Christian. And brother, it did my heart a world of good. To see you the other day. You posted about a topic that I have been harping on about for well over a year now. Um, People need to stop using the phrase heresy unless it is actual heresy, because
Yes.
heresy has a meaning. Now, if you mean heterodox, fantastic. That is the word you should be using. So if you see something that is wrong teaching, feel free to call it heterodox because that's what it is. But if it is not heresy, now heresy has a very specific meaning. Heresy would have to be something that explicitly or implicitly affects and denies the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you take Baxter's view of justification. Nowhere in it does he deny Christ's saving grace, Christ's death on the cross. Nowhere. Could you look at it and say that's orthodox? Some people do. Could you look at it and go, actually, no, that's heterodox? Yes. I,
Yeah.
I, I probably would in some areas. Not all areas, but in some.
Right.
But
Right.
could I look at a man like Baxter and go, nah, that's heretical, he's a heretic? No. Like
Yep.
it's people really need to learn the difference, and this is the problem. And I'm preaching primarily to myself here as well. On social media, we need to be very careful with charges that we lay at brother and sister's feet. Very careful,
Yes.
because obviously, first of all, I don't know whether they truly know the Lord or not. I have to take their confession
Mm-hmm.
and trust that okay, the Lord knows whether yours or you're his or not. So I can't go around being like, oh, Colton's not a Christian. He says this, and this. Now, if I had an issue with something Colton teaches, like I know him well enough, I could message him and be like, brother, explain what you're saying here because that does not sound right to me.
Yep.
That's more of what we should be doing. Now, if you see someone that you don't know and like you don't have that ability to reach out to them, and you've maybe got like a platform the way Colton and I do, and you do know that people tune in to listen to, yes, you can maybe point out, like, look, be wary if this guy is teaching something that's not quite right.
Hmm.
That's good. You can label it heterodox, but don't label it heresy unless it is actually heresy, because that's a very serious charge.
Yes. Yeah, totally agree. And that's where I think it's not it's not cool right now to try and be as ecumenical as possible. It's just not cool. Like, yet I think this. I mean, this is just my understanding of it from Scripture. I think we ought to try to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we ought to try to understand one another and be able to identify. Okay, our practices are different here. I don't practice the same way this brother does, but do they have the gospel? Do they know? Do they have the gospel? Because the other, you can work these things out and discuss them. And I know some people aren't fans of what I know Gavin Ortland promotes and some others, but the theological triage, I actually think is quite helpful. I really do.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
We'll come on to that. Gavin's an interesting character. I like Gavin. I'll share some thoughts on that in a minute, but let me just get to some of these questions so I don't let these build up too much. Thoughts on Maltese dogs? Well, I know you have one, brother. It's clear by your profile picture. Brother, I'm a dog person. I love all dogs. All I would personally say is too small for me personally. I like big dogs. I have a Rottweiler, I had a Husky, and I had a Rotsky. So I like big, large breeds. And but yeah, I love dogs of all sizes, to be honest.
Seconded. Except I will say this. Not that I hate them, but I'm not a fan of Chihuahuas.
Yeah, yeah. Like same. Whenever I say I love all dogs, I do. There are some breeds I just definitely I'm not a fan of. Doesn't mean I hate them or I dislike them, but like it's always the wee small dogs that are the most yappy and like
Yes.
misbehaved. And look, 9 times out of 10, anytime a dog runs up to Rolo on the street, it is always the tiny little rat dogs because the bigger dogs know better. And I
Yes.
don't mean like Rolo's the biggest and the baddest dogs. I've met dogs that make Rolo look small.
Hmm.
But what I mean is, big dogs have more of a confidence about them. They don't feel the need to constantly, oh, I have to start a fight with this dog. But it's the wee rat dogs that run up to Rolo, and until they get to like about an inch of his face, and then he starts growling, that they're like, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
But Kid Fury also says, still better than America. I'm assuming that's in reference to the fast food, brother.
yeah. I think that's what it was.
Although, to be fair, I really do want a Philly cheesesteak, though. That would be unreal. Dreadful Gabe, good to see you, brother. I think people don't understand the meaning of heresy. That is true, and that's why I haven't posted in a while, but I have posted a lot throughout this last year. I might retweet it later if I can find it. Heresy has a very specific meaning. And I know people that do throw the term out heresy willy nilly. I know they think they are doing something good, and they're thinking, no, this is heretical, this is bad. It's just unfortunate because, like, even if you go, and Colton, you'll know this, if you go deep enough into church history, you will know that people that even had the harshest theological battles back and forth hesitated, and I mean hesitated, to call the other a heretic or say that their
Hmm.
view was heretical.
Yes.
Even during the Reformation, the Pope did not immediately excommunicate Luther because he
Hmm.
didn't think Luther was being heretical. He thought he was being heterodox and he wanted him to come under submission. But the Pope did not automatically excommunicate him because the our ancestors, our spiritual forebears who came before us, they understood what it means to call another child of God a heretic.
Hmm.
It's incredibly important to not call someone a heretic unless they are. And again, Colton, I would honestly say we would be hard pressed, even in our day, to find someone that we would genuinely call a heretic.
Hmm.
And the reason I say that is you take someone like a Benny Hinn, Now, Benny Hinn is a oh, there's multiple words I could use for Benny, but I believe Benny falls under the category that Scripture says he is a deceiver that is also being deceived.
Mm-hmm.
But does Benny teach anything that directly denies or contradicts the gospel? He actually doesn't. If you've ever heard Benny Hinn preach the gospel, and it's rare that he does preach it, but when he preaches it, he actually preaches it accurately.
Mm-hmm.
But what he does is he sneaks in all the prosperity nonsense, where if you sow a seed of 1,000, God will
Mm-hmm.
bless you richly. That would fall under the sin of simony.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, he's dangerous. He's a wolf. He should be marked. Do we use the term heretic? He doesn't necessarily fall under the category of heretic, unless someone could provide to me a case where it's like, well, here he teaches whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, here's a good example. He apparently repented of this, but he once did teach that God is a trinity of trinities.
Mm-hmm. I heard
Now,
that.
yeah. Now, there's territory where we could move into, okay, now you're teaching heresy, but he hasn't ever taught that since.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't label even Benny with something like that, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Have we given pastors and theologians that support EFS and ESS a pass? It seems the subject gets danced around rather than confronted. Well, Colton, I'm going to throw this your way. I have my views on this, but you're a pastor, so I'm going to
Yeah.
give this to you. And Colton, if you want to give people, obviously EFS, eternal functional subordination,
Mm-hmm.
just for those that don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, give the audience a little bit of an overview first of all, and then give us your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this, I remember it was a couple of years ago when this was really a hot topic.
Yeah.
So eternal functional subordination is in reference to Jesus. It's the idea that Christ's submission to the Father is an eternal, like permanent thing, where Christ essentially is treated as eternally submissive, functionally submissive, and you see in his earthly ministry clearly he is submitting to the Father. He's submitting to the Father's will. Even that precious prayer in the garden, not my will but yours be done. What EFS fails to do, in my opinion, is it fails to properly understand the hypostatic union, where Jesus is truly God and truly man. So, as a man, he is certainly submitting to the Father,
Mm-hmm.
but he is. And the big issue with EFS really just goes back to whether or not you affirm the Nicene Creed as it is, that he is God from God, begotten, not made, light from light, that sort of stuff. And I do think it's a dangerous teaching. I do think that it's very problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Heresy, it's difficult, man. It's difficult to say that. Do I think they should get a pass as far as not have it discussed or be corrected? No. I think that certainly should be a part of the thing. I know a big guy who was pushing this was Owen Strahan,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't agree. And part of the problem, and where a lot of the EFS guys kind of got this, is they wanted to use it to push their understanding of gender roles, right? Like they're wanting to say, well, just as the son submits to the father, so the wife submits to the husband and all that, and trying to equate those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that in and of itself is problematic because it's a son and a father, not a husband and wife. But also, it's problematic because it's not needed. You don't need that example to teach biblical gender roles. Like, there's plenty of other teaching in the Bible where it tells the wife she should submit to her husband.
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to push that on the doctrine of God. It's just, it muddies the waters. So do I think they should get a pass? No, I think we should talk about it. I think we should call it out.
Mm-hmm.
Heresy, I I don't know, man. It certainly seems to push the boundaries in some ways that I think are dangerous. But
Yeah.
I don't think I would call, me personally, right now I would call it heterodox. Would be my take.
Which again, let me add in the people that is a primary uh, difference between heterodox and heresy. For someone to be heretical, they have to be willingly, knowingly committing the same thing, which means they have been corrected, they have been told the truth, but they continue to push it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they get called heretical. So heresy, likewise, is whenever truth has been presented, it's still being denied, and there's something being put in its place. Then it can be called heresy. Now,
Yep.
for example, someone pushes something like, let's just say no one's ever heard of EFS before. Someone presents it, we look at it and we examine it and we go, okay, I can see a point here, but it seems to contradict there. And we then decide, okay, no, this does seem to fly in the face of the rest of Scripture. We would look at that and we would go, that's heterodox. Now, if the person that came up with it still pushes it, even after correction, it goes on, then we could turn around and say, okay, now you're saying something heretical. Stop it.
Right.
But here's the interesting thing. I do not teach EFS, obviously.
Mhm.
What I would say is, I think it's important to distinguish that Jesus now, what's the best way to put this? Because I know this is going to come out wrong. Jesus is eternally the God man.
Yes.
So there is a sense in which, functionally, in role, Christ and his humanity will be submitted to the Father.
Mm-hmm.
But what EFS gets wrong is it becomes about nature, that Christ is subordinate in nature.
In
He
nature.
is
Yes.
not. He is equal.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like Colton was saying earlier, it's a misunderstanding of the hypostatic union. If you have a proper understanding of the hypostatic union,
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a sense in which you can say, yes, Christ will be submitted to the Father, but you need to be very careful about how you say that,
Yes.
because normally that gets twisted and turned into, so Christ is subordinate to the Father.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah, and that's really the funny thing about this is all this stuff goes back to like early church discussion. Like this is what they were hammering out in these creeds, and trying to make clear. And then to say that what we want to avoid saying in any way is that Jesus is somehow a lesser God. He is not. He is very God, begotten of God. He is eternally begotten.
Yep.
So yeah, amen to everything you just said, brother.
Yeah, because if Christ was lesser in any format, you would quite literally not only tear the heart out of the gospel, but you might as well tear pages out of Scripture,
Mm-hmm.
because Jesus then would be unable to exegete the Father. He would be unable to make the Father known, because he is
Yes.
not the exact image or imprint of the Father.
Right.
Because what that passage is getting at is the fact that he is, in his substance, God, in his
Yes.
nature, God.
Yes.
Anyway, I see a few more questions here, Colton, but let's go with Olivia's statement. Always wanted a husky, and then I learned how dramatic they are. Yes, I can testify. My female husky, she's sadly no longer with us. She wasn't the most dramatic husky, thankfully. She wasn't a big howler, because a lot of huskies are. But one thing that we were warned about before we got our husky, and I didn't pay too much attention to it, because I was they say things about different breeds. Like, people often talk about how Rotties do something called the Rottie Rumble, which is where a Rottweiler will just rumble and grumble to itself. It can often sound aggressive, but they're just talking to themselves, I think. Roldo does do that, but not as much as other Rottweilers do. But anyway, going back to what I was saying about the Husky, we were warned that Huskies are escape artists. I regret not taking that information more seriously. I never met a cage or a fence that could have contained my dog. She found a way out of it or over it. And for people that don't think Huskies are athletic, I, with my own eyes, one day saw her clear a 6 foot fence. Not an issue. And she was gone. Thankfully, like she didn't go out of sight. But like if we weren't home and we hadn't seen her, oh, she would have been gone. Huskies are, oh, if you have one, you'll know. If you're about to get one, be aware. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, what else have we got? I've seen some discussion on X from some pastors about the dangers of young people receiving theological education online through YouTube and podcasts. What do you both think? I have very strong views on this, but Colton, do you want to go first?
Um, yeah, I have strong views as well. I guess what I would say, and I've been on, I actually told the old bros this when I was on their show.
Mm-hmm.
I am of the mind that the primary theological education that anyone gets should come from their church.
Yep.
That's where I think the primary place is. Seminaries, as much as I love them and I'm thankful for them, they're not a biblically ordained institution. They're just not.
No.
That doesn't mean there's no value. There is. There's certainly value. I've benefited from it. I'm thankful for professors who taught me to read Hebrew. Like that.
Mhm.
That was, and I'm thankful for those guys. But where's the primary focus? I think the scripture is just very clear. The church is to raise up elders. So I don't think it's wrong to go online and learn, but do so under your elders at your church.
Mhm.
When you have questions, before you start pushing a theology or whatever, and you're submitted to elders, go to those brothers and get their take. Because if you understand what Scripture teaches as a church member, you are under their care, like you are their sheep. And so I do think it's dangerous if you have this idea of just going rogue and I'm just going to, consume a bunch of online stuff and push this and disconnect myself from the church, and just go that way. But can you learn stuff online? Sure. I just think we have to be very cautious about how
Mhm.
we do it. I've learned a lot online, from interacting with people or from watching things on YouTube. I've learned a lot, but I have, even as a pastor here, I have other pastors that I trust that I consult different things with.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna blast out there my newly found theological stuff from online
Mhm.
spaces.
Yeah. Pretty much the same as mine. However, I would say, and I'm not saying Colton didn't say this. I'm just saying this is where I say I do have strong opinions on this. I think it is a good practice for you to say to your elders, to say to your pastor, whatever, look, here's the guys I listen to. I'm going to leave that with you. I'm not asking you to, watch them all in one go because you can't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a good idea to let your elders or your pastor know who you're listening to, because even if your pastor doesn't have the time to listen to it, he may be aware of some of the names and go, "Oh yeah, that's pretty sound, that's pretty sound." But if he sees a name on there where he's like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's now he can come to you and say, look, you should not listen to this, and here's why." They
Yes.
actually teach against what our church teaches. Whatever the case is, I'm just giving general examples. So yes, it should absolutely be in submission to your elders, to your pastor. However, I'm also a huge advocate of learning online. The reason why is technology obviously has its downsides, but
Mm-hmm.
God has also give us a wealth of information at our fingertips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same way with any tool. You don't just go into a workshop and pick up the sharpest chisel you can find and start hammering away. That chisel is going to slip and take a chunk out of you or a chunk out of someone else.
Hmm.
That is the same way with the internet. If I just dive into church history and I Google a quote from Athanasius and I post it, the likelihood is I have probably quoted Athanasius out of context or I don't understand what he's saying.
Hmm.
And I'm now either going to lead someone astray, believing this is what Athanasius believed,
Hmm.
or say, for example, I as a Protestant use a quote from Athanasius and say, look, see, this refutes Rome.
Hmm.
Now people from the Romanist side can come over and say, well, actually,
Hmm.
Athanasius was arguing against this. And because I didn't do my homework, I didn't learn how to use my tool properly,
Right.
I've done damage to my own credibility. I
Hmm.
have potentially led people astray, and I have slandered other people,
Hmm.
accidentally slandered, but still slandered.
Yeah.
So we need to be wise about how we use it. But my goodness, what a privilege it is to have this wealth of information. Like,
Hmm.
Colton, we can right now, both of us, go and look at papyri online.
Yes. Yeah.
Think about that.
It's incredible.
I know you
Yeah.
think about some of the church fathers, right?
Hmm.
You look at this. Actually, this move out beyond the church fathers. This say we are early. This say late second century, about the head, and early third century. Most of the people that the gospel had spread to had like a letter or two of scripture. They didn't have the entire canon.
Hmm.
Can you imagine how they would feel knowing that in our hands, is my Bible even handy? I've got a ton behind me, but none within reach. Within our hands, not only do I have the entirety of the canon
Hmm.
compiled in one thing, but
Hmm.
I've got multiple copies.
Hmm.
That would blow their mind,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you say to them, not only that, but we also have all the writings of, well, all the writings that we know of the church fathers.
Yeah.
That is a huge amount of wealth of information. And again, to remove it away from theology as well, because again, we're both obviously Christians, we're both theology centered. But Colton, I can't tell you how many things, even when I'm repairing something, I sometimes Google a YouTube video just to be like, how do I take this thing apart? Watch it.
Hmm.
And then when I see it, I'm like, okay, that's fairly simple.
Hmm.
That's another means of using the internet as a tool.
Yes.
Now, can you misuse that tool? Sure. There are many
Hmm.
people that do. I know people in my life, and it's very sad. They use the internet as their church. They're like,
Hmm.
well, I've fellowship with people online. I watch sermons on Sundays.
Hmm.
That ain't going to do it, folks. It's just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But can it be used online and can it be used well? My opinion is yes,
Hmm.
100%, but use it well.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Thanks for all these questions and comments, folks. We do appreciate it. We'll be on for another little while. Colton, if you need to run at any stage, let me know because I probably will stream for a wee while today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I went to church where the pastor was the nephew of Bruce Ware. So the subject was glossed over. Owen Strachan was his cousin, in reference to the EFS. I'm assuming.
EFS.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I have. They're probably not visible. I have some of Owen's books here. Um, Same way with any guy, I would say there's things that Owen teaches that is great.
Hmm.
There's other things where I think Owen is bad.
Hmm.
I've had a few run-ins online with Owen, not like fighting or anything, but like we've disagreed over a few things, and I think Owen has blind spots. To which
Hmm.
I'm sure he would also say I have blind spots, which is fair.
Hmm.
But Owen is not someone that I would look to and think that he is a great teacher. To be honest, that's my personal opinion. So whenever I read that, I'll keep my opinion to myself, but I'm just going to say I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he also replies with deference. I'm assuming you're saying in regards to Christ to the Father. I'm assuming deference has been said there, brother.
Hmm.
If I'm wrong, let me know. You see, he also said excellent, appreciate the response or pleasure, brother.
Yeah.
Right. What else have we got here? And then Colton, I haven't forgot that topic I want to come back onto.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
I was just reading a Wolverine comic, and man, Nightcrawler is a great theologian. Thoughts on fictional Christian characters in modern media, or just Christian fiction in general? Hmm. Um, I have mixed opinions on this, bro. I'm not against it, so anyone that's for it, I think go for it. If it's honoring God, go for it. I just happen to view this in the wheelhouse the same way I view YouTube. I used to be really big into comics. I'm not so much anymore. But I would never put anyone down for reading comics. However, where I would say this is Christians need to do better at being in all forms of media, all forms. Um, Movies, TV shows, whatever. Because like you look at some of the filth and the trash, like that's partly why I don't really watch movies and TV shows. Like there's a meme going around at the minute, Colton. I don't know if you see it, but it's a guy sitting on his sofa. Like it's just panels, obviously, but it's a guy sitting on his sofa. He's like starts new show and he's all smiles. Episode one, like he's still, or sorry, episode two, all smiles. Episode three, he's all dejected, and the caption underneath, two dudes start kissing, and it's like, oh yeah, yeah, of course, like that would have to make it into the show that I'm watching. That
Yep.
had all the potential to be a great show, but they have to introduce some form of woke ideology into it. Like that's what I mean. Christians should be more involved in not only writing good shows, because I'll be honest, I avoid Christian media currently like the plague.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of it is cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
cheesy, cheesy, and I mean cheesy by like I find rom coms cheesy. I would watch a rom com any day of the week over most Christian films.
Yes. Agree. Agree. I will say this. One uh, guy who has put out a decent fiction work that's really marketed towards young adults, or not young adult, teens,
Mhm.
kids. Um, Andrew Peterson's Wing Feather Saga is
Heard of
actually,
that?
yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's now I don't think it's not overtly Christian, like it doesn't have like super strong like Narnian sort of allegory,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just really good storytelling. It's done really well, so um, I like those. But as far as the comics, I'm kind of dismissed. Like I don't have a ton. I do remember Nightcrawler being like the one guy who seemed to have some Christian theology in
Mm-hmm.
there. If I remember correctly from X Men, I think Beast also was always reading the Bible. um,
Yeah.
so but
The,
yeah, I don't remember a ton to be honest.
the downside to this is, and sorry, I just laughed because I see on Livian's comment. I'll bring it up in a minute, but the downside to this is, oh, I need to plug my Mac in, or otherwise my computer's about to die. I did not realize that. I didn't think I was that low. Otherwise, Colton, you'd been hosting this show by yourself, brother.
That'd be scary.
Um, the downside to this is, and this has been confirmed before, that when the X Men were originally written, the mutants were gay and LGBT type Q people. That's what the mutants were, and the ordinary people who were scared of them and afraid of them and threw rocks at them, that was the straight people. So they're,
I had no idea.
yeah, it's been
Wow.
confirmed. Now people that are still into it, that's fine. Like I'm not saying that to change your mind, but just be aware that that was the ideology behind it, and it was seen as a way to open up the, hey, look, they're not so different, and they might even have a, you know, special powers in the sense like they're just different ways to love. But anyway, yeah. So
Uh,
Dreadful Gabe says, well, Nightcrawler is an avid Catholic in the comics. Yeah, I'm fairly sure I remember him holding a rosary in,
yes.
uh, I think it was the 1997 X Men show, which was a great show, by the way. I used
Hmm.
to love that thing.
Yep.
Um, Good enough considering the other characters in Marvel. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, this is the comment that I did laugh at. Woke show or God's Not Dead number 15. Which way, Western man?
Unlivian, what a legend.
Yeah.
What a
Like, see,
legend.
the funny thing is, and I'm not joking, I think I probably would watch. That's how, like, I know this is bad, but I think I probably would actually enjoy the woke show more than I would enjoy God's Not Dead because it's brother, it's
it,
so
it,
bad. Like the
there's,
writing, it's like
yes.
I don't know how. Now I know actors obviously don't get much say at times, but like when people are directing these and writing the scripts, like I don't see why they don't look at it and go, "Hang on a minute, like is this really going to have appeal outside our circles?" Because here's the thing: if you're only writing that for people in your circle, what's the point of putting it out? Because then
Right.
it's not evangelizing. It's not sharing the gospel, which is often something you hear the people with Christian movies. Oh, get your friend to watch this. I would never show a non-Christian friend one of those types of movies because they would look
Yes.
at me and be like, "What on earth are you
Yeah.
involved in? Like, what type of hippie type cult are you involved with?"
So
Like
true.
they already have enough reasons to reject the Lord. I ain't showing them God's Not Dead number 15 to be
Uh,
another, hey, I ain't getting them the.
yeah.
Because it's that really uncanny valley. Like, we're always smiling, we're always happy, and it's like, just stop it. Just please stop it.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Totally.
So Kid Fury says, "Well, that's more of the modern turn it took. Originally, it was just a story." No, brother, other way around. If you go back and look at I forget his name, but one of the original, uh, what's the word? Not author. One of the original creators of the X Men story did confirm. Now it came out in recent years, but he confirmed that what the mutants always were was meant to be a take on LGBTQ issues. It just couldn't come out at the time because obviously that was a time in society where we didn't have that, which to be honest, it should be a return to in my mind. But and then he says, yeah, the modern woke writers try to make it that way. Yeah, they push it more now, absolutely, but unfortunately, that was what it was done as well. But God's Not Dead has lots of worship songs.
Boo.
Uh, Not for me, it doesn't, brother. I'm sorry.
If I know Dreadful Gabe well enough, I'm pretty sure that was tongue in cheek.
Oh well, I'm glad. I was going to say if it is for you, fair, but not for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, Colton, let's move slightly back in time a little bit. Just a topic we already were discussing, but it was we never got around to it because we were discussing around it. But then it made me think about a tweet that you had brought up. It'd probably be too hard for me to go and find it now, but you'll know what it is anyway. Colton, do you remember the tweet you shared about Sproul? About people thinking that he wasn't. What way was that worded again?
Yeah, that's the one that it actually exploded, which I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
surprised by. Um, but basically, the idea is, and I've seen it out there.
it
The
is. That's why I want to talk about it.
Yeah, that Sproul was just he wasn't intellectual enough. That he was just like kind of the. And to be fair, there's some reality. Sproul is kind of a gateway into reformed thinking, um, confessional thinking.
Hmm.
He certainly was, but he's been charged quite a bit recently as being we're beyond Sproul now. He's just mid. He there's nothing extraordinary, to which I think is absolutely sad to put it that way.
I also think it's the reason why I want to talk about this. And apologies for cutting you off there. I just want to add in briefly. I also think it's incredible arrogance. Imagine someone who enlightened the Lord's word to you in a more deep manner and showed you that there is more
Hmm.
to discover, that you look back and go, you're pathetic. You're not, like, look at all these men much smarter. You wouldn't have known of these men that you're now looking into if it wasn't for this dude. He
Yes,
wasn't trying to be the scholastic dude that you're now so focused on, because if he was, you never would have got into him.
exactly. And that's one of the things I said in my post was, and I've heard the analogy before, but I think it's true. Sproul was so good at taking the more complex topics and it's like putting the cookies on the bottom shelf where
Mhm.
the children can get them. And that's what he did, and that, to my mind, that's the mark of a brilliant teacher who is able to do that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And man, Sproul is certainly one of those guys. I have some of those Ligonier DVDs you were talking about, and I plan on showing those to my kids at some point because
Mhm.
of the teaching was so good and so understandable for these big topics. So
Mhm.
I think a man like that is worthy of double honor. That's just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And look, brother, let's put it this way: when we go out to eat and we come in through the door, we're greeted by our server. He or she takes us to the table, gets us our water, sets the menu down in front of us. We're respectful, hopefully. We're thankful for their service.
Mhm.
When the meal arrives and we realize that it's been cooked by the chef and not by our server, we don't suddenly look at the server and go, get out of here. You've done nothing for me.
Right.
Just because now the feast is before our eyes.
Yes.
So and I'm speaking generally, why do you think it is we do this whenever it comes to men like Sproul? We're so, like, here's my honest take first before we even get into the meat of this. Wasn't even Sproul for me. It was Piper first,
Hmm.
then Sproul.
Yeah.
Sproul did more for me than any theologian ever
Hmm.
so far in my life. Anyway, I'll say that much. But so far, Sproul has shaped me more than any other.
Hmm.
Have I moved on beyond Sproul in the sense that am I engaging and tackling things that Sproul now, at least in his public ministry, never tackled? Sure.
Hmm.
But I could never imagine looking back and go, Sproul was nothing.
Yes. Yeah. No, agreed. I think that's what good teachers do is they set you on course, right? In Sproul, the things that he was speaking to is what was needed in the generation he was speaking to,
Hmm.
and honestly, same with Piper. You know, if we're gonna get super nitpicky, where I like what I don't understand is the idea that you can't appreciate one of these theologians without affirming every single word they ever said.
Yep.
Like that's insane to me. I get stuff even in my circles, and I don't know if you know this, but particularly with the Confessional Baptist side of things, Piper is kind of frowned upon, um, and I have so much respect for Piper, and I don't agree with him on everything. I'm not a continuationist.
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't even say that I'm fully sold on his, I'm not fully sold on his Christian hedonism idea. I don't even like now that I'm older, I don't really like that phrasing.
Hmm.
But did Piper help a younger Colton
Hmm.
see that God's glory and my desires matter when they're together? Yes, and in a way that I will never be the same, like
Hmm.
because of that teaching. And of course, Piper was pulling from men who were before him, like Edwards and Lewis. But that concept of, man, God's glory and my joy are not at odds with one another, that was life changing for me.
Yeah.
And I esteem that man for that. And the same with Sproul. When it came to with Sproul's teaching on justification and really diving into topics like that, his simple explanation of the doctrines of grace. And I know if not everyone who's watching this may not affirm those, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Hmm.
But Sproul masterfully explained those
Yeah.
like so well. And so I agree with your brother with what you said as far as how arrogant is it if we turn our nose up at the men who really opened the door for us and showed us to the meal. I think that's a great analogy, honestly.
Yeah, it's one I've used before because I think it's apt. Because here's the thing: your server who brings you to the table sits you down, displays the menu in front of you, gets you your fork and your knife, your jug of water, your cokes, whatever it is, they are laying the ground for you in order to feast. If
Mm.
she doesn't bring you napkins, or he, whoever it is, by the way, if they don't bring you your drinks, your menu, your knife, and your fork, what are you ordering from?
Right.
What plate are you eating from?
Right.
Or are you eating with your hands? Like, they are quite literally doing a very important job. We should be thankful for them. Same
Yes.
way with theology. Can I look, and now here's what I will say, similar to you. I think there's a lot problematic with Piper now that I'm older and
Hmm.
I am a little bit more mature in my faith. But I think Piper loves the Lord. I
Yes.
think Piper has done a lot for the kingdom, far more than I have done for the kingdom.
Hmm.
I don't get to look at Piper and dismiss him out of hand. Can I look at certain ideas? Like, for example, I don't want to get into this one too much because we'll go way off on a rabbit trail. But could I look at Piper's thing where he said if someone broke into his house, he would not defend his wife and say that's abhorrent? Yes.
Yeah.
I
And I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's right to say that's abhorrent.
Hmm.
But what I will say is Piper is being true to his convictions.
Hmm.
He feels like that is wrong for him. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm not going to get too deep into that. All I would say is heaven forbid it ever happens. But I think if it ever did happen or a situation like that happened, I think his convictions would change very quickly. And that's all I'm going to say on
Yeah.
that.
No,
But
I think I agree with you, brother. Like honestly, that was I remember when he said that, and that was when he said that I was pretty deep into Piper. Like I was listening to the Ask Pastor John deal every single day, all of that. And I remember when he said that, and I was shook by
mhm,
that because I'm like, uh, no, like that's not like if someone broke into my home to mean harm to my family, I would not think twice about dispatching them into eternity.
mhm.
You know, it's just it's part of the deal, and I don't think it's wrong to
No.
do so at all. I think
Well,
it's actually being a good husband and father.
Scripture would also show you that, but again, you're going to get people because, and this is another thing we can talk about as well, is a lot of people think if something's not explicitly said in Scripture, you can't draw from the rest of Scripture to make a true belief from it. But that's just false because we can disprove that with many other things. But let me
Yes.
address just some of Mike's comments here, because Mike, good to see you, brother. I just saw you come in a while ago there. Says, I know what a crawl is, but what is a sprawl? Is it between a spore and a scroll? Close, brother, close. It is the late great R.C. Sproul himself. And I also said I was a fan of Piper. He should have beat Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper,
Oh.
Rowdy Roddy. Yeah. But it's so part of the reason I brought this subject up is I'm a layman. I make that very clear.
Mhm.
I do not care if my intelligence is insulted. I just don't care. Um, However, the reason I bring this up is, and this is not related to me, but I'm just using myself as an example rather than dragging someone else into the light here.
Mhm.
There's a lot of young men at the moment who, you do indeed, Mike. We enjoy it, brother. Keep it coming. Hopefully, we're providing good content here for you too. It's just a chill chat today.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of these young men that are getting very into reform scholastics, and I want to touch on that a little bit as well because I actually think that's a reaction to something else. But I'll
Mhm.
come to that in a second.
Mhm.
I have had numerous of those young men reach out to me and be like, hey, does this sound right to you? Or like, is this confessional or is this, whatever the question is?
Mhm.
I thoroughly appreciate that they trust me enough and they respect me enough to come to me.
Mhm.
However, I have seen screenshots of a group chat where my name was mentioned.
Mhm.
Um, and because I'm not a Baxterian,
Mhm.
because I go by Layman,
Mhm.
my intelligence was automatically brought down to, he's dumb, don't listen to him, he knows nothing about it.
Yep.
Um, that doesn't bother me, but what it does show is if you do not like, my goal is not to come online and be like, uh, who's a good example? Uh, there's not many on the Protestant side, sadly. There's a couple I could think of, like the other Paul.
Mhm.
I've had him on my channel. Like he debated with Tim there recently.
Mhm.
He's a scholastic dude.
Yep.
He's very into his theology. He's very into arguing scholastically. He presents very concrete arguments from history. If you go to his channel, you're not going to be hearing the type of stuff you get from me. Like you're going to need to turn your intelligence up a little bit to even keep track of some of the things he's saying, because he's using bigger words
Mhm.
because that's his audience.
Yep.
But if my platform is to be a doorway in to theology for people, into apologetics,
Mhm.
I would be on living. Could you take care of that on Twitch, please, bro? Um, I would be very bad at my job if I was speaking above my intended audience, because then I'm not going to be able to speak to my audience.
Mhm.
That's what people like Piper and Sproul did.
Yep.
But there is this, and I honestly do want to call it intellectual arrogance, and that's now what I want to move into.
Yeah.
My personal theory, Colton, is this is a reaction to currently what's going on with Rome and the East.
Mhm.
Rome and the East are indeed experiencing. Now, what's interesting is there was a study put out recently. I'm just giving this for context, and I know I'm going off into a thousand rabbit trails. Trent Horn recently did put out a statistic that shows actually Rome and the East are actually losing more people than they are gaining. But
Mhm.
because what's being celebrated is the incoming numbers, it's making it look more than it is. But Trent would actually say they're actually bleeding numbers in a lot of ways too. Now, that's neither here nor there. I'm just adding that for context.
Yeah.
But because it's become so popular, you're seeing a lot more guys online do apologetics from a Roman Catholic or an Eastern Orthodox standpoint, and they are talking. Their talking points are very scholastic. They're very deeply rooted in what they see as history and being factual,
Mhm.
and it becomes such a convincing argument even to laymen, because they're like, oh wow, they really know what they're talking about. They really. We don't have a lot of dudes now. Me, you, Colby, and Colby. What is wrong with me, Kobe? Kobe and Zach will be doing hopefully a stream in this in the future. I contacted you guys about it ages ago. Still haven't got around to doing it. There is a severe lack of Protestant apologists. One
Mhm.
of our main ones is the Redeemed Zoomer.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I've nothing against the guy. I just don't like his style. And I think he can be very arrogant in a lot of areas. So he
Mhm.
unfortunately puts a lot of people off. But there are not many people out there for Protestants who want to be serious about the faith. Hence, a lot of these young men digging into people like Baxter and stuff. And I think
Mhm.
that's where we're seeing this type of intellectual arrogance. They're like, okay, we've had Sproul. Who cares?
Mhm.
He's small fry. Now,
Yep.
Colton, I hate to do this to you. I won't be long. I just need to take the dog for a quick
No.
bathroom break. But if you want to address that situation, and I'll be back very shortly.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I am all alone, and this is strange. But yeah, I think what Layman is on to there makes sense. You do see a lot of that sort of thing happening. There's a lot of the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox apologists are really on it, and Protestantism has some deficiencies as far as guys who are doing it well, and I think Gavin Ortland is one who's doing it pretty well. I haven't spent a lot of time listening to the other Paul. I actually just saw him in the debate that Layman hosted for the first time, and he seemed really sharp for sure. But yeah, the scholastic side of things, I think I definitely see a problem with arrogance kind of happening there. And I don't I don't know if I would. I know I'm not the one as far as for the super hyper intellectual type to have those discussions. But I don't know how much you heard of that, brother.
I heard it all.
Yeah,
It's rainy out here, so he actually turned around and was like, "Nah."
fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, I'm 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 not a layman, but I'm not a scholastic either. Nor do I claim to be. Now that doesn't mean I don't want to read and learn and grow and all those things. I certainly do, and I want to be able to equip my people to defend their faith.
Hmm.
But yeah, I do see what you're saying as far as because of this Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic sort of scholasticism that is
Hmm.
happening. And I've had the interactions with young men who have moved in that direction.
Yeah.
And part of it is scholastic. Oddly enough, though, I think a part of it is also very emotional.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Hmm.
you know, like who was that guy? The guy that recently, I think it was the Cleave to Antiquity guy.
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah, and he talked about smelling incense and stuff. Like, just there's certainly is an emotional component as
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. What do you think is the solution to that?
Oh, that's a question because this is something gets put my like I'm in a group chat with a lot of these guys. And it's fascinating because obviously I'm not the only one in there. Like there's a couple of older guys in there, and like it's not the apologies, folks, if you hear a tractor in the background. It's just Rolo snoring. Um, he has to make it in the stream one way or the other. And it's funny. It's not that us older guys that are in that group chat see ourselves necessarily as mentors. Like in some sense, we do, but like
Mm-hmm.
we're not there like to police the young guys or whatever. Like we do genuinely care for them. We are friends with them,
Mm-hmm.
and we're incredibly humbled that they do come to us for advice at times, and it's great to be asked for advice because someone coming to you and saying, look, like it's essentially saying, look, I value your opinion here. Like I think you would give me a decent answer.
Mm-hmm.
So we have addressed this question a couple of times, and I don't know what the exact fix is. But one thing that I have said over and over again to them, and I even posted about this like maybe a month ago as well, I am more critical of Protestants than I am Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodox because I want my camp to be better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any sway over Rome or the East. Like if they're gonna act untowards and bring reproach upon their particular branch, do it. But I don't want to see Christian Protestant dudes doing that in return.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't stoop that level.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sort of rambling, but what I was saying here is one of the things I said to them is stop being so reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I mean by like I'm glad a lot of these young guys have found Baxter, despite there being some issues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they're digging deeper into theology.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll probably grow past Baxter as well because
Mm-hmm.
they'll read beyond Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
But where I think the issue is, and this is what I mean by like, I think a lot of people are getting into this whole scholastic thing as a response to Rome and the East, not necessarily the conversions, but like you've got people on Rome's side, like Christian Wagner, who has become very, very popular. He was once he called himself a Protestant, but again, he wasn't Protestant. He was non denominational, from what I know, and he became Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
So he holds a lot of sway over a lot of like young people, kind of like Redeem Zoomer. And I'll give him his credit. I've watched some of his stuff. Incredibly intellectual. He
Mm-hmm.
is not speaking to a lay audience. He just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of my young men, not that they're my young men, but you know what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
They love watching him because he's so smart, he's so intelligent, and he articulates things in a way they're like, oh, we should articulate. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by that type of reactionary,
Yeah.
hey, look what they have. Because then they'll also point to the East and be like, hey, look, they've got Jay Dyer. Now, Jay Dyer can be extremely abrasive, very harsh with people.
Mhm.
But if you actually catch him where, I don't know, whether he's just having a good day or whatever, but whenever he does actually engage in actual conversation, Jay Dyer is well read, very smart, very articulate, academic.
Yeah.
That appeals to people
Mhm.
because Christianity is first and foremost a religion. Well, it's the true religion, obviously, but it is a religion that has reason on its side. So we
Yeah.
should be reasonable people, articulate people, smart people. That should
Mhm.
outflow from our Christianity. And I think a lot of young people have got sick, especially men, of this emotional Christianity. I just feel the Holy Spirit. I just,
Mhm.
just love on your brother and sister. That doesn't appeal to young men in general. Brother, I'm 35. It doesn't even appeal to me,
Mhm.
right? But I think our problem is, well, first of all, I do think more Protestant apologists need to rise up. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit of a hairy time. I don't know if Americans use that phrase, but we use hairy in the sense of like it's a bit
Yeah.
dodgy.
No,
Uh,
I've heard it here before too.
okay,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to do live translations on here, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a hairy time because we need a
Mhm.
younger guy that's going to do it. Because like, dude, I'm 35. I've no interest in getting into the type of like
Mhm.
apologetics most of those young guys want me to do, because they want me to go into things with like debates with Roman Catholics and stuff. I have zero interest in that. My goal is to work with a layman.
Mhm.
That's what God's placed me to do. I want to be faithful to that. But anyway, I think we do need a younger dude. But the problem with there being a younger dude is there's going to come a huge learning curve. There's going to be arrogance. There's going to be, especially if he takes off.
Mhm.
So he's going to need someone. He's going to need multiple people in his corner to be like, you sit down and
Yeah.
keep your humility. But
Yeah.
I honestly pray that God would start to raise up more Protestant apologists. Because here's
Mhm.
the thing: while I was away, I heard you mention Gavin Ortland, and we said we'd talk about him a little. And Colton,
Mhm.
I want to be respectful of your time, bro. We're nearly at 2 hours, so whenever you need to go, you go, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. We're good.
Um,
I'll probably have to take off right at the 2 hour mark, but
Sounds
we're
good to
good.
me, bro.
Yeah.
So we'll get wrapping up with this particular conversation here anyway. But like the issue with Gavin is, and I think Gavin's a lovely person. I
Mhm.
think he does great work, especially with his theological triage.
Mhm.
The issue with Gavin is, unfortunately, too many people dislike Gavin. Not that
Mhm.
that should bar you from apologetics, but the
Right.
problem is you've got people on Gavin's own side who won't watch him, won't listen to him because of Gavin's politics or
Mhm.
Gavin's views on old Earth or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
So if Gavin doesn't even have his own side on his side,
Mhm.
he is not going to be an effective apologist to Rome in the East.
Mhm.
Rome in the East also don't like him because they look at him and go, well, you're not Protestant, you're a Baptist. And again, I know that's coming into that whole other debate too, but like that's what a problem. Gavin is, unfortunately, from an audience standpoint, Gavin is fractured in at least five different ways, because you've got this group saying he's not that, this group saying he's not that.
Yeah.
Gavin can't help that. I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, unfortunately, Gavin's not going to have the appeal now to a lot of the younger guys, because he
Mhm.
doesn't. Like, if I mention Gavin Ortland to some of those young guys, they're like, nah, not for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
If I mention a Redeem Zimmer, a lot of them are like, oh, yeah, yeah, he's great. He does good content, but he's not really doing apologetic videos anymore. And I'm
Yeah.
like, again, I don't dislike Redeem Zimmer.
Yeah.
I just find him very arrogant, and it puts me off him personally in regards to apologetics. So
And I think
oh,
that, brother, that is the issue here. If we're being honest, to the at the bottom level, the arrogance issue is what is going to keep you from being heard by other Protestants. They're just not going to respond well to that.
mhm,
You will certainly have a crew of other scholastic minded people who will hurrah you, and they'll you know want you to go ratio everyone on X or whatever.
yeah,
Um, but the others aren't gonna care. Like, they're gonna see your arrogance and they're gonna go, I mean, yeah, he really is smart and he's really intelligent and able to defend whatever. But if they look at you and they see arrogance as being a fruit of what you're doing, that's you're not going to win people over that way. In the same way that Gavin's, and I agree with you, like I don't agree with Gavin's politics. In the same way that that's a turnoff to people, the other side of the pendulum is going to be a turnoff to people as
Hmm.
well. Um, so yeah, man, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunately it's one that I've just witnessed from this last year. Like I have been surveying the scene. Like again, I have no want to step into that realm. I love moderating debates, but I'm not a debater. Like I'm someone who writes, I think,
Mm-hmm.
fairly well. But I don't think necessarily great on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So debate's not for me because I know I'll either say something I shouldn't or I'll get too angry or whatever it is. So I stay away from debates now unless I'm moderating.
Right.
But having surveyed the scene, like you've got the other Paul who is growing, praise the Lord, but like Paul is not as interested in, like he said this himself on a tweet, like he is not as interested in defending Protestantism as he is defending Anglicanism. Like he
Mm-hmm.
is trying to work with the own with with the problems in his own denomination, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's fantastic. That's a
Yeah.
good niche, and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing something to actively better your own denomination. I think that's fantastic. Focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like, and I'm just naming you the Protestant apologists that I know, and
Mm-hmm.
I legit, brother, can only think of three of them. There was the other Paul.
Mm-hmm.
There's Gavin Ortland. There's
Mm-hmm.
Redeemed Simmer. There was Cleave to Antiquity, but it turns out like he was lying to people while he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't actually Protestant,
Right.
um, which was a disgraceful thing to do while still taking money from people. But
Yes.
let me read these briefly, brother, because you've
Yeah.
only got a few more minutes with us.
Sure.
Mike says, I felt hell before and forgot all about it until I was born again. It all came back once I looked into NDEs. I was not religious when that vision happened. Um, and then he continues, oh, are you not going to come up on the screen for me? There we go. Well, not the finished hell that is, but it's darkness. Yeah, so I have been researching a little bit recently on near death experiences, and I have been looking at a dude's work, and I forget his name now. He is a Christian, he's a doctor, and he's been talking about near death experiences. And then there's a Roman Catholic apologist, so I just want to put that out there in case people think I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
I often find I'm in this weird situation at times where like I have people that criticize me for everything. I can't name a Roman Catholic apologist. I can't name anyone. Otherwise, I support everything they say. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said a minute ago, Colton. But
Right.
anyway, Jimmy Aiken, Roman Catholic apologist. He's done a really great two-part podcast on near-death experiences, and I think he raised some very interesting points that Christians need to start looking into near death experiences because here's the thing, our life is not just physical, there is a spiritual reality.
Mm-hmm.
There has been many well attested to stories of people that have gone under the knife and said that they were looking down on their own body as they were being operated on, and they could tell things that they later, whenever they awoke, they were able to tell certain things that they shouldn't have been able to tell, like something maybe the surgeon said or whatever. Now
Mm-hmm.
you can dismiss that out of hand or you can do whatever. That for me, I just wouldn't automatically dismiss it. I don't know what to believe on it,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, I would look at that and go, look, my religion is supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Christianity is a supernatural religion.
Yeah.
I don't know everything that goes on. Only God does. I
Right.
would not form a doctrine out of anything, and I'm not saying you have, Mike. I'm just saying this in general for the audience. I wouldn't form a doctrine out of near-death experiences or whatever, but I also wouldn't dismiss them out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. I'll just be honest. I don't have a lot to add because I haven't thought about it very much, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Um, Sam says, I appreciate the ones who can explain complex theological issues in simple terms. I think it shows you actually understand it. Yeah. What's that old adage? If you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you don't understand it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely some truth to that, for sure.
hmm
Yeah.
And again, not that we need to keep doing this, but obviously there is caveats. There are some concepts where like you just have to say, look, this is not simple. It's going to take a while to explain, and I need to carefully unpack it. But yeah, if you can't get like, this is what I was going back to earlier. While I'm not an expert in Baxter, and I even need to touch up on him, the fact that those young dudes knew I could give a rough overview, and they trusted my overview, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you can, and I think Colton, I've seen you do this in your channel before too. You don't need to delve into the depths of every other doctrine in
Hmm.
order to be able to explain it. Just,
Yeah.
just if you know what I mean. Like
Hmm.
we were talking about this a little bit off stream. Like you've had interactions with Roman Catholics before.
Hmm.
It's clear. Like you know what your objections are to Rome.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you need to delve into every because like that's just going to take forever.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
anyway, let's touch on Mike's comments here, and then Colton, I've got about 10 minutes with you, brother, so we'll just end up plugging some of your stuff and just a quick chat before you go. Mike said, most of my life I thought nothing mattered, that once you die, there is nothing. It has been less than a year since my first prayer as an adult. Okay,
Hmm.
when everything changed, so much insight hit me hard. Awesome.
Hmm.
Praise the Lord for that, Mike. I did not know that. Thanks for sharing, brother.
Hmm.
And then he continues with, what issues do people have the hardest time with? Are you referring to faith wise, Mike, or just in general? Let us know. But Colton, maybe just as a pastor, you could maybe like, what do you think? What do people come to you most for with help, or for help, I should say?
Yeah. The reality is, at least I only have my context that I can speak to that in,
Yeah.
but it's things that are far more simple. I mean, it's not the people aren't asking a ton of very like to the depths sort of things.
Hmm.
We're the things that I get probably the most often are the very basic like problem of evil questions.
Yeah.
Just stuff about why is suffering happening to me in this instance, or why did this person go through this, and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of people, the problem of trying to reconcile their faith alongside seeing things happen in their lives or in lives of people they care about that just aren't going the way they think they should. It's very simple as
Yeah.
far as just an average person would have questions about.
Hmm.
So I see probably more of that than anything. Um, yeah.
To be honest, kind of hits the nail on the head because this is something I actually commented to on your sprawl post as well. The reason why I had such a disgust for that post, not your post discussing the post that was saying about sprawl.
Hmm.
The reason I had such a disgust towards it was it's mainly coming from, as I say, young dudes that are so into like highfalutin theology. Let me just
Yep.
put it that way, like
Yep.
scholasticism, whatever else. They need to understand while there is a lot of them on the internet where they can feel like the majority, in real life they're not. The majority of people don't have an interest in that type of theology.
Yep.
It's not that it's not important, they just have no interest in it. They have got other things going on in their life. There are
Yep.
people out there that are genuinely, maybe Gavin Ortland didn't coin this phrase, but he certainly made it popular, ecclesiastical angst. There
Hmm.
are people out there, even in our own congregations, who are struggling with maybe hearing Rome's claims about being the one true apostolic church and going, am I really in a church? Like,
Hmm.
that appeals sound really good. They do seem mentioned, they seem rooted. There are people out there struggling with that in our pews. Vice
Yes.
versa. There are people in Rome sitting there going, you know what? Look what the Pope's saying here. Look, people have real life issues
Hmm.
that they need real life answers to.
Yes.
And there are men out there like Colton, who's pastor, and Tim, who's a pastor. People like Sproul, MacArthur, obviously now with the Lord as well. But like to look at men like that and be like, oh no, they don't add anything or like
Hmm.
nothing of value. You're just plain wrong because
Yep.
what they do actually matters more. They're bringing actual answers into people's life who have actual problems.
Mm.
You getting online and debating with your buddies about, who has the most based understanding of justification. Congrats, you. I know this sounds horrible, but one day you will grow out of that, and you'll look back on it. We've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger in my faith, I was reading people that, okay, you might look at now and go, okay, yeah, Thomas Watson, not great. Thomas Watson ain't dumb by
Right.
any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But now I look at Watson and stuff, and I'm like, I still appreciate what he wrote. But I look at it now and I'm like, but that's not what people are hungering for. They have
Yeah.
genuine questions they want answered to. Anyway, I've rambled. Let me ask this final question to you, Colton, because Mike got back to us, and then we will plug your stuff. Um, Faith in God, three is one, so the Trinity, obviously. Why does suffering exist if God is all loving and good? These are not for us to fully understand. How to have a relationship is the main thing we need to know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Mike, you answered your own question. I think Colton touched on it. Those are the actual issues that people are struggling with. There are people in our congregations who have heard the term Trinity, who it's not that they deny it, but I have known people that have been in church all their life and they're like, yeah, I know God's described as a Trinity, but like I don't understand it, I can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Those are the people that those are the areas that we need to then be working on, not who has the most scholastic theology or who that matters nothing, and it will matter nothing in eternity, in light of the fact if we're going to ignore the people that are maybe struggling with basic Christian doctrine, like the problem of evil, like the Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the main issues. Anyway, Colton, thank you so much for coming on with me. We have about 3 minutes here, brother. Do you want to give a little word of goodbye to people? Also, please do tell people where they can support you. I know you have a Patreon, and I'm going to bring up your merch store as well while you do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure, man. I appreciate it, brother. I always love talking to you.
Likewise, bro.
I have a YouTube channel. Primarily Bible reviews were what I started with, but I've tried to branch out some more and talk about some of these other things, and we'll
Bro.
have more stuff like that coming. But yeah, it's just my name, just Colton Yarbrough. I've doxed myself from the very beginning, so uh,
Just don't give your location,
yeah,
brother.
yeah, I won't do that. But yeah, YouTube is where most of this stuff, video content that I'll make will come out, and I do have a little merch store if you feel so inclined to support in any
Yes,
way.
sorry, let me bring that up just while you're doing that.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, and this page right here shows just like some of the newer stuff, and there's specifically Baptist stuff on there because I am a Baptist. But you don't like
On.
if you're not a Baptist person, like if you'll click Layman at like view all or view, there's a lot of other options.
I should know this because I have one of those stores. I cannot
Yeah,
see you all
I,
currently.
I think
Oh,
it's
there,
up at
there,
the top. Yeah, there's like a simple Bibles, books, and theology kind of design. Yeah, like that, and
there. Mm-hmm.
some other fun stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
there's your
yeah,
Bible and theology. Yeah,
yeah. Just some fun stuff if you're interested in any of that. I do have a Patreon, but to be honest with you, I don't really charge for any content on there. And people can choose to support me on there if they want. I'm
yeah,
not.
it's a good
I'm
way to do
not. Yeah, I'm not active enough on it to be honest. Uh, I just use it as sort of a catch-all for some other stuff I do. So I've been known to write music from time to time, and I'll put some of that over there, or I'll write a little not article, but just an extended form of some thoughts and things
Yeah,
like that. And it's like I said, there's no paywall. The only paywall I have for anything that's there is music because it does. The artistic side of things, it does take a little bit more effort, shall we
oh,
say?
yeah,
So, um, but yeah, I am not a scholastic. I'm a simple dude, um, and
the club, bro.
yeah, I want to talk about theology because I think it matters,
Yeah,
and I also want to model, and I know Layman is the same way. If I'm wrong about something, I want to correct that wrong. I don't want to be wrong about things. So I love the discussion aspect. I love to talk about this kind of thing. But as a pastor as well, I try my best to have that mentality in things that I do. So to understand, I will answer to God for what comes out of my mouth to my people,
Mhm.
but also for anyone anywhere that I say things to.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, I just love talking about this kind of stuff. It's fun. I love engaging with people and learning more. So
Yeah.
come along for the ride if you wish.
Absolutely, and like Colton said, you can catch him. He's got an Instagram. He's also on Threads. He's on YouTube. He's on X. You can catch him all over. He's on most of the platforms I'm on. But if you do feel inclined and the Lord leads you to it, obviously 'cause these videos, like, they do take work. Or YouTube videos that we put out, it takes time. It takes editing. And if you do feel like donating anything towards Colton, you can go get his Colton. Where can they find your Patreon?
There should be a link to it in the YouTube channel. I think
Your YouTube channel.
under the
Awesome.
like
Yeah.
about or something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So if you subscribe to Colton's YouTube channel, and if you feel that, and folks, keyword if, none of us here are like asking for money. I've been incredibly blessed by my audience who support me. I thank you for that. This is the reason why Colton and I also have merch stores, because it means you get to help support us. Because, like, I think sometimes people think stuff like this is free. Like, there's software to pay for, there's editing, there's all that sort of stuff. If people feel led and want to support, that's awesome. Colton and I are never going to be out here demanding that you do. If you want to, that's fantastic, and we thank you. But I'm just going to advocate for Colton a little bit here, because he's a lot more humble than I am in this regard. He does put out a lot of good content, and yeah, please do hop over and support him and get yourself some cool merch. Like, to be honest, when payday comes, I may be getting myself this little skeleton pint glass. So
Yeah.
uh, but anyway, Colton, you've been with me for a full 2 hours here, bro. I really do appreciate it. And also, quick note, I'm sure Tim will put this out tomorrow, folks. If you normally watch Tim and I, there will be no stream with Tim and I tomorrow, but you will be reminded tomorrow. So tonight, you got Colton and I instead.
A poor substitute, but I had fun. So
Not at all. Not at all. Anyway, bro, I will let you run on, spend some time with your family, get on with your rest of your day. Folks, I'm going to stick around. And Livy, and I'm not going, bro. I'm still sticking around. See, look, my own audience are leaving me because you're leaving.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, I'll be on for a little while yet, as long as people stick around. I'm free this evening anyway, so I might as well stream for a bit. But anyway, Colton, I will let you go, brother. Thank you very much for joining me. Good night, and
Yeah.
God bless you, bro.
Thank you, bro. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
See you next time, bro. Okay, now to bring me over. All right, folks. I do not really have anything planned. That's kind of why I was live with Colton. There's a couple of things we could talk about. If anybody wants to come up tonight, actually, you can. One caveat to that, I do want to know you at least a little bit. Like, I don't want to just bring up random strangers. Although, in saying that, we do have a stream coming up very shortly where we are going to be having a panel discussion in which we will bring up viewers, even if we don't know you. Obviously, you'll be vetted beforehand just to make sure you're not going to do anything dodgy and get us kicked off a stream. But if anybody does want to come up, and Lillian, if you want to come up or whatever, just let me know and I can send you the link. Other than that, feel free to ask questions and we'll address them as we can. But one of the things that I did want to address, and I am just going to look, where would I find that actually? Bear with me, folks. Here we go. Hopefully she does not mind me doing this. It's just the quickest person I found that actually has it up. You can tell I'm prepared, folks. Alright, let's see if I can do this. Bring this full screen, switch over. Sister, I don't know if you're still watching. Apologies, you were just the first person I found whenever I searched for the term. I was recently on my good friend Ben's podcast. He used to go by Skinny Tie on X. He is now going by. I think he's still. I think his handle is still. Yeah, he's going by Benny Skinny Davis. Um, which is good. I told him he needs to branch out into his own name. But I recently did a podcast with him. It was last week. We've had a good number of views so far. It was a really fruitful discussion on Islam, and what Christians need to be aware of. So if you want to go over to his YouTube channel, or you can find it in Substack or on X if you're on there. If you haven't listened to the podcast, go over and check it out. It was really, really good. I'm surprised I haven't had a knock on my door yet, judging by some of the things we talked about in the podcast. But is there anything in particular, folks, you would like to now? Bearing in mind, I'm not I'm not putting myself out there to do this in the sense that I'm definitely going to do it. But on my supporters page, I've been letting my supporters know about some projects that are coming out very, very soon. There will be one released next Monday, which I am very excited for. Supporters will get a huge discount on that, by the way. But if there's anything you would like me to look into content-wise, let me know. I've done a lot of work on Mormonism and a lot of work on Islam. I've been invited on a few podcasts recently. Gonna have to try and space those out, because preparing for podcasts does take quite a while, because even though you can get the questions ahead of times, sometimes they throw you curveballs. Like I unfortunately do that to my poor guests as well. But then we also have Layman Talks is still going on. I normally would have episodes in the bank to release. We're in a little bit of a drought at the moment because I had multiple podcasts fall through for different reasons. But what have I missed here? Both are false with false prophets. Oh, sorry, Mormonism and Islam. Right, okay. I was like, what did I say now? I get you, brother. Yes, you're correct. And the funny thing is, Islam and Mormonism share a lot in common, which is interesting. So whenever you hear their origin stories, it is very interesting to hear how they came about. So we can do a stream in that at some stage, but that would be good. There is also a Mormon gentleman who contacted me multiple months ago whenever I did a video on Mormonism. You can find that video on my supporters page, by the way. If you don't know how to access my supporters page, you can go. Okay, no idea what that is. Rumble's just being a bit of a weirdo with the stream. Apologies. If you go over to my X account, if you're not on X, I will find a way for next stream to make it more freely available. Normally when Gabe's here, he'll link it. But you can find my store. And Livian, are you still on the stream, my friend? You might have disappeared. If Livian's still here, I might see if he could link the merch store for me. Actually, why don't I do that? I have a computer at my hands. But yes, this Mormon gentleman wanted to have a conversation with me, and I told him I would, but he would have to wait until I had finished some of my projects. And he was very patient with that. And he seems like a guy that would have a genuinely decent conversation. So you will have that to look forward to as well. Because here's the thing, folks. Just because someone is in a false religion does not mean that we cannot have fruitful conversations with them. And we should want to have conversations with them to bring them out of whatever cult they are in. Bear with me here, folks. Me and multitasking is not good. You would think I would know my own website by now, but I clearly don't. You see... Oh dear. Anyway, folks, how is everyone doing? I know it's midweek and I'm not normally streaming. We have about 100 odd watching, but we only have a few commenting. That's fine. If we don't really have any questions or anything, I might hop off and come on later again. But let's see what we can do here. There we go. If you're interested, that's where you can find my merch store. And then you can also find my members page there as well. So you can get access to exclusive videos. Now, let me see. Mike says Mormons think God the Father was a man at first. How was he a man before anything physical existed? Well, you see, this is a very good question, brother. Mormons do not believe in creation ex nihilo. They believe that matter already existed and that their God just formed matter here on earth. But they believe that while he was a man, he had a God before him on another planet. And so you then have the problem of the infinite regression of gods. So hopefully this part does not get clipped out of context. I'm talking about Mormonism. They believe that our God was once a man, but he had a God before him. His God had a God before him, and so on and so on and so on, and it never ends. Because they then have the problem of infinite regression. And if you don't know what the problem with infinite regression is, think about it like this. Think about if you are a sniper on a mission and your job is to unalive a target, but you have to get permission in your ear from your superior in order to take the shot. So you ask your superior for permission, but then he has got to ask permission from his superior, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So if that is an infinite regression, meaning there's no end to it, it keeps going back, the sniper will never actually get to take his shot because of the problem of infinite regression. That is, it's why it's an issue. So if you've got an infinite regression of gods, you actually can't get to your present God because you cannot cross infinity. So Mike also said, so where did all those gods go? Well, again, good question. Those gods don't exist, Mike. I know you know that, but what they would teach is those gods all have their own planets which they roll over. So the reason why they say space is so fast is that there's multiple gods rolling over their own planets with their own lives. And the interesting thing is, they also believe. Yeah, he says, yeah, it's so convoluted. Yes, it's an incredibly messed up religion, and it's very sad because unfortunately Mormons as a people are genuinely lovely. Like you would be hard pressed to meet a nicer group in a lot of ways. Doesn't mean that they all are, but the majority of them are. Um, and the sad thing is, a lot of younger Mormons. So here's the bigger issue with Mormonism. Mormonism has been changing a lot, even within this last 20 to 40 years. Never even mind a century. But what is happening now within Mormonism is it's something that a lot of Christians predicted for a long while. Mormonism fell flat in its face in the sense that archaeological evidence was pointing out inconsistencies with Mormonism. There were claims made that were unable to be backed up. Certain books that Mormons tried to say, were written by Abraham turned out to be Egyptian funerary texts and things like that. Mormonism has had a lot of failures on its hand. So, because it cannot stand on its own, Mormonism over this last while has been shifting into the, oh well, we're Christian too. We can lay claim to all your archaeological evidence and things like that. So you'll note in recent history that a lot more Mormons now are using the term Christian. However, don't let that fool you because they're not. They deny the core tenets of Christianity. Not to mention that their own religion teaches that Christianity is an apostate religion, that all her professors are false and abominations, and that there is no true church upon the earth apart from the LDS church. So note that they want to co-opt the title Christian in order to say, look, we do have archaeological evidence, we do have history, we do have manuscript evidence, but it's not their evidence, it's ours. But at the same breath, they'll be like, but and they like to call us creedal Christians. Like that's an insult. I'm very proud to be a creedal Christian because it means my faith is anchored in history. So yeah, Mormonism is it's very dumb. Um, He says, haha, so silly. So all those other gods have barren planets they rule over. They'll try and appeal to that within our solar system. Like, obviously we can't see every planet. Like, there's probably other plenty of planets that have life. It's obviously doesn't have a leg to stand on, Mike, but it's unfortunately it's very prevalent, and obviously a lot of Mormons believe that. You see, when a Mormon talks to you on the street about salvation, they do not mean salvation in the way that you mean salvation, because we mean salvation from sin, death, and hell. Mormons believe that, with the exception of very, very few wicked people, so like apostates of the LDS faith, basically, um, with the exception of very, very few people, most people will be resurrected into a heaven, because they believe in three tiers of heaven. Obviously, the higher heaven is where you're closest to God. Um, but what they ultimately mean by salvation is deification. They mean that they will ascend to godhood. They will be given their own planet to rule over. Pardon my language here, folks. I normally try and stay away from this type of language on the stream, but I think it's important to say. They will then have sex, physical sex, with their wife to create spirit babies to send down into their planet, because that's how Mormons believe we are. They believe that we are quite literally spirit children of Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, and that Jesus and Lucifer are brothers. So it's a very messed up religion. Sam says it's quite deceptive. Yes, it is. And the reason why it's so nefarious is most young Mormon elders, and they're not elders in the biblical sense, by the way, I'm sure you all know that, but they're elders in the sense that they're titled elders. Most of them do not know their own church's history. They're ignorant of their own church's history, so they do not necessarily know what their own church has taught in the past. So if you point out contradictions and errors to them, the likelihood is that Mormon's going to look at you and go, I don't really know about that. They also know and are told that whenever they talk to Christians on the street, not to bring up topics like, oh, we believe, that your church has fallen away, that it's an abomination and stuff like that. The reason why they do that is they like to co-opt our speech or language, things like salvation, sin, death, punishment, heaven, hell, but they mean by those things quite literally very, very different things, very different contexts. I have a little PDF booklet. It's not published yet, but it's a little PDF booklet of all the phrases that we as Christians use, things like sanctification, glorification, all those types of theological terms and words. And then I translate that into what Mormons mean by those things. So whenever that comes out, you will see that we use words in a very different way. I'm guessing by the fact that he never replied to me, Mr. Onion Lover has indeed disappeared. That's okay. Mike says they are an abomination. They are not real Christians. No, they're not real Christians. That's the unfortunate thing. They deny core tenets of the faith. Now, obviously, if any Mormons are watching, they'll come in and say, "We don't deny. You just don't articulate it well." It's nonsense. So no, this is an important important to differentiate, if I could get that word out. They don't believe everyone becomes gods. They believe that is the Mormons' ultimate goal, that is what they should strive for. But you cannot attain godhood in their religion without going through the temple rites, temple marriage, baptism for the dead, things like that. They are quite literally beholden to the law, because the Book of Mormon twists a passage of scripture, which shouldn't surprise anyone. It does that in multiple places, but I think I can't remember now off the top of my head. There's a Book of Mormon on here back in the shelf. I should lift it in a minute. But they have a passage that says we are saved by grace after all we can do. So works for them is incredibly important. They do believe that they need to work for salvation. And remember, salvation in their eyes is godhood, right? So, will every Mormon become a god and rule over a planet? No, but that is their goal. They think that is the goal that Mormons should have. So, here's a simple way to know you have the real faith. Believe in the one who never changes. All other religions who change over time prove themselves to be false. Yeah, that's exactly it, brother. And the thing is, this is why Mormonism and Islam are incredibly similar. Both Joseph Smith and Muhammad both had to come along and say, look, you guys fell away from the true faith. All the evidence of the true faith was lost. It was destroyed, or it was hidden, or it was, burned, or whatever else. You guys lost the truth, fell away from it. Joseph Smith comes along, Muhammad comes along, and they restore the truth and they teach the truth. That is what we call restorationism. And the problem with that is it denies Christ's words. Whenever Christ said that he will build his church upon the rock and the gates of Hades will not stand against it, that his word will never fail or never pass, both Joseph Smith and Muhammad see that, they scrumple it up and they throw it out the window. The reason why they have to do that, the reason why Mormons will say to genuine Christians, oh, you're a creedal Christian, they create this as, in their mind, some type of insult, as if to say, oh, you believe those silly creeds that were made up by men. They do that because they don't want you being anchored in history. They don't want you knowing that the faith that is confessed in the creeds is the faith that was confessed by the apostles, that was written and preserved in the Word of God, the same Word that we have today. We have manuscripts from the 1st century right up until present day. We can access them online. There's museums we can go into where we can see the manuscripts. We've got pieces of papyri. The evidence for Christianity is vast, right? Cults like Mormonism and Islam have to tell you that all that stuff is corrupt. The reason they have to tell you that is, how can they teach you their version of events if you're anchored in history and you can see the evidence and know what people actually believe from the very time of Christ? That's why they have to say, oh, no, you guys fell away, you guys got it wrong. So pray for Muslims, pray for Mormons if you know any in your life. Remember, they are image bearers of God. You should seek to see them saved. David Wood was friends with a guy called Nabil Qureshi for years. Nabil was a Muslim. I believe he was an Ahmadi Muslim. I'm fairly sure that rings a bell. Which is not one of the main branches of Islam, by the way. And this is something I've said before. Whenever Muslims will stand in front of people and say, oh no, Islam is one, it's false. There's Sunni Muslim, there's Shia Muslims, there's Ahmadi Muslims, there's smaller branches than that again. So don't let them lie to you. They're not one, and they have major differences amongst themselves. But anyway, David Wood was Nabil Qureshi's roommate during college, and was it college? Man, it's been so long since I've read their story, I can't remember. But anyway, he was a good friend with him for many years. They debated Christianity and Islam back and forth, and David continued to witness to Nabil, and Nabil, the Lord saved Nabil. And Nabil went on to have a great ministry. He wrote a book. He wrote multiple books, but his most famous is Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. And yeah, sadly, Nabil passed away quite a number of years ago now. It doesn't seem that many, but it probably was quite a few. But his legacy lives on. So remember, pray for those around you, even if you disagree. Oh, sorry, I've missed a comment here, Mike. Apologies. Jesus also said it is finished. Jesus never said there would be more prophets after him. No, exactly. And Hebrews actually states the opposite. It states the fact that Jesus is the final way. He is the final way that the Father has spoken to us. There will be no prophet after Christ. So that's a good way. And again, Scripture, Paul, even by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, he was aware of this ahead of time. He quotes to us that even if an angel from heaven comes to you with a different gospel, know that it's not of Christ. Now, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, because I don't have the passage in front of me. What do both Islam and Mormonism teach? That an angel appeared to Muhammad, and then an angel also appeared to Joseph. But then he also claimed that the father and son appeared to him, and it's we just automatically throw that stuff out. We know automatically that that's false. So Sam says, highly recommend Nabil's book, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. Yeah, it's a fantastic read. He did have a second book. He may have more than two, but I know there was definitely a second. And I cannot remember what the second one is, but that'll come up. Yeah, Mike says, yeah, they were roommates. Yeah, oh yeah, I know they were roommates. I just can't remember David's story, his testimony. I sometimes get it back to front because obviously David went through quite a lot of stuff. He was in prison for a time period and stuff too, so I can't remember the order, but I do know they were roommates. That much is for sure. Let me just see here, folks. Sorry, just taking something on Rumble's end. Rumble's been a bit weird. Huh. Okay. If you were watching on Rumble, folks, apologies. I don't know if we still are. I think Rumble may have kicked the bucket. It may have a time limit, to be fair, although it's never done that before. So, anyway, folks, I am free for a while. I may continue streaming if we have any more topics or anything that come up, but if it's going to be pretty quiet, I may hop off for now and come on at my later time. So we'll see how things go. I'll give it another 5 minutes here or so, and we'll see what the conversation is like. But anyway, I do appreciate you all dropping in. For the brother who asked about how he could donate more freely, and he wanted a QR button, we now have one at the bottom left hand of the screen. It is there if you do wish to donate. Please do not feel like you need to. Yes, Zach, feel free to pop up. We just lost Colton, so feel free to pop up. It's the same link, Zach. So Sam has got to go. Great stream. Thank you very much for Sam. Or thank you very much for Sam. Well, we do thank you for Sam, Lord. But thank you for popping in. Thank you for the comments, and enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is. I'm all off kilter. So we'll wait for Zach to join us, folks, and then we'll stick around for a little while. See what else we've got going on. But anyway, for those of you who are still talking, which I'm fairly sure is just me and Mike having a ganch back and forwards here. If you don't know what having a ganch is, it's an Irish phrase. It means you're having a conversation. But if anybody's watching and wants to chime in, feel free. If you do want to come up, you can, as long as I know you roughly and know you're not going to be weird. You can come up, you can have a conversation. We'll try and branch into a few more of those streams, like I said. Anyway, I've got one planned. I don't know if we'll get to it in November because there's a lot coming up on the channel. That's okay, Zach, no worries. Yeah, there's a lot coming up on the channel in the future. A lot of debates coming up that I'm still trying to hammer out the details. Debates are awkward. It's you'll know this if you're in like a group chat or anything like that, or you're trying to get your family together. The moment you start asking people, hey, what date works for you, what time works, you're always inevitably going to run into trouble. And I've found a love for moderating debates. So I really want to get a few more in the channel because I know not everybody's into debates, but I honestly do think they're very beneficial. I think my audience in particular benefit from it. I've had a lot of people say that they really enjoyed the debate with Tim. So I will come to your comment now, MMA, my friend. I've just saw it there. Just let me address this first. The actions in the cave where I've seen it disguised as an angel of light. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you look at scripture and an angel appears to someone, the angel says, "Do not be afraid." When an angel appears to Muhammad in the cave, there was no "Do not be afraid," and by Muhammad's own testimony, he said that the angel squeezed him multiple times and hurt him and kept yelling at him to recite. Muhammad fled down from the cave thinking that he had been possessed by Satan. That is Muhammad's own testimony. So that should say a lot. MMA Guru 84. I was trying to watch the reaction, and it's difficult to hear the volume of you speaking, and the volume in the background made it hard to hear you, which hurts the entire intro. It was awesome. New sub. Thank you very much, my friend. I love that. Thank you for subscribing. It really does mean a lot. It helps the channel as well. So unfortunately, my friend, if you I don't know how far you got into it because it turned out to be a 4 hour stream. I'm glad I hopped off when I did because David Wood and Apostate Prophet went for another 2 hours, so it was a 6 hour stream in total. I probably should have made that stream a little bit more clear to the audience. I did repeat it throughout the video, but people pop in and out, and it's not the audience's fault, it's my fault. That particular reaction was not for the audience to necessarily hear. It was me doing my homework, reacting to the information that was coming out in order to do a video this week with my friend Gabe. We are going to be doing an actual reaction where we discuss some of the things that were said, how we as Christians should handle it. The streaming of it was just, hey, I'm watching this debate, I might as well watch it live. Some of my friends came up, it became a bit more of a conversation. So I get it. I know it probably would have been a bit hard to hear. It's just unfortunately, and I could have made this clearer, that the intent wasn't necessarily for people to hear. But for those who stuck around and watched it, appreciate you. Mike also says a real angel would know that Muhammad couldn't read or write, and angels don't beat up real prophets. Yes, this is very true. Sorry, brother, I got distracted. I'm having many notifications pop up on the side, but yeah, no, exactly. First of all, again, Scripture is very clear. Angels are trying to word this without someone, because sometimes you say things and people run with it as if you're teaching something. Angels are beings that when they appear to us as humans, they petrify us. Obviously, we are natural beings. We're not really used to seeing uh, the supernatural world, so to speak, right? And even then, sometimes we need to speak more clearly, because truly supernatural is a phrase that can only really be applied to God. We often use things like preternatural to talk about things that are outside the natural realm. But anyway, that's going way off on a topic. But if an angel was appear to me right now, I would react the same way men and women in scripture did. I would be afraid because I'm not used to seeing it. They are awesome, glorious beings of light, and if they appear to you, they're going to petrify you. So the angel tells you, do not be afraid. I am not here to harm you. That's not the encounter that Muhammad had, because Muhammad rightfully at that time fled down the mountain going, I think I have been possessed. He knew he encountered something evil. Anyway, MMA Guru 64. Makes sense then. Yes, my friend, I could have made that a lot more clear, my friend. So I do appreciate you commenting and letting me know, because if that was a video I put out where it was intended for the audience to hear it fully, that I'm glad you let me know, because I would need to fix that. But that one was more just personally to keep me awake, hence streaming it live, because as I say, I'm glad I didn't do the final 2 hours. I knew they were going to go on a bit longer. I just didn't expect them to do a full 6 hour stream. Um, There he is, Zachary. MMA Guru 64. Angel of the Lord broke Jacob's hip in the Bible. Yeah, that's true, but that's because they were wrestling, and it's the only encounter we have of that. And he put Jacob's hip out of socket. But whenever you read Muhammad's encounter in the cave, it was no wrestling. It was a violent encounter in which the spirit kept squeezing Muhammad and hurting him. So, but it's a good point. Thanks for bringing it up. Anyway, welcome, Zachary.
Hello, buddy. What's up?
Not a lot. I was doing a stream with Colton tonight. He had to go because he already did 2 hours with me. And I am blazing red because someone else in the house has obviously put the heat on. And oh my word.
I just came in from outside where here in the Great Republic of Tennessee, it's like 40 degrees out there. So I got me, you'll appreciate this. I got me a nice little drinkage of red breast. So
Nice.
gonna warm
Nice.
up with that.
Yeah. I not that I think my audience cares, but like I don't really want to take my hat off because I've got hat hair today, but I also can't keep the hat on because oh my word, it is getting warm here.
Yeah, sorry to everybody. I keep putting my hand in front of my thing. I'm trying to. If y'all could see my setup, you'd be like, how does this guy even get things going?
You don't?
That's true. I don't. It's a
Uh,
miracle.
well, now that you're up, we'll obviously stick around for a little while. More people will probably trickle in anyway because we're currently at 114. I normally don't stream to 1 a.m., so my audience, my normal audience, normally won't be on just yet.
Yeah, I was about to say you still got about 30 minutes before our normal.
No. One we normally go live, or one
Oh,
and a half.
yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
haven't I haven't changed my wall clock, so it scares me in the morning and I think that I'm late for work, so then I hurry up.
Well, did you not hear about me on stream with Tim?
No.
So two weeks ago, this was before like you guys' time changed. My time changed like a week before that, and I didn't know because all my stuff is digital. Like I normally wear a watch, yes, but for that week I had my Apple Watch on, so like I was running at an hour's difference unaware. So whenever Tim's stream come on, I was like, why is Tim going live an hour earlier, and why hasn't he told me? I messaged him in a panic, and I was like, Tim, like I normally wouldn't mind, but give me a heads up. Like I was about to lay down for a nap,
Yeah,
and then I saw that I won't have time because like we always hop on half an hour before to discuss what we're going to talk about anyway.
right.
So like Tim, like we're going to be going live in like half an hour, and he was like, "What?" He's like, "No, we're not." I'm like, "It says 8 o'clock for me," and he's like, "Did your clocks change?" And I was like, "No." And
Maybe.
no, at the time I was adamant that it was no, and then I was like, hang on a minute, let me look this up. Sure enough, I had been running around like an hour, like just completely off for an entire week.
And I really wish they would just do away with that. You know what I mean? I can't remember if it's this year or I'm sorry, this time of year's time change or if it's in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the spring. It's whichever one we lose an hour, and I never remember because my internal clock I just wake up at the same about the same time anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's I think it's the spring one because we lose an yeah because you spring forward so you
Forward,
lose an
fall back.
hour.
Yeah.
Like the amount of heart attacks with like trade job men especially the amount of heart attacks actually skyrockets the first 2 weeks of that time change in America. And I was like, what? Like somebody was telling me about it. And I was like, nah. And then I looked it up. Yeah, sure enough, it goes up by like 20%. It's crazy.
Yeah, I could believe that, like for multiple reasons, but also like people don't, especially like I don't think people realize like messing with someone's sleep. If they've got like say for example blood pressure, if you mess with someone's sleep who has
Right.
blood pressure, that can do like an awful lot of damage to them. Like it's So it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. So
Yeah. I'm actually kind of now that you mention that, I'm kind of intrigued on how I'm going to be in the spring because I got put on blood pressure meds, and this is my first time change with it. So
sorry, wrong comment.
now I actually wake up like 45 minutes to an hour earlier than normal. So I just like roam around my house or read. So like my blood pressure whenever I leave is obviously going to be fine. But
Mm-hmm.
man, I bet whenever we lose an hour and I have to rush around, I bet that's going to be real fun.
Oh yeah, probably. Anyway, sorry, let me get MMA Guru's comment here again. He says, rather be squeezed than have a broken hip, but then again, I don't have to die for everyone's sins. True, but also, I would far rather have my hip be put out of socket by the angel of the Lord than be squeezed by the demon Muhammad was squeezed by. So, certainly don't want none of that action. And then, hello, fellow layman. I'm familiar with your stuff over on YouTube. Good to see you, my friend. Um, but yeah, anyways, I don't really have too much to talk about. Me and Colton just came on for chill, both his audience and my audience cross platform for a little bit, so we had some different questions come in. I'm surprised we got no Bible questions. Colton normally gets a lot of Bible questions.
Hmm.
I think because it was over here, they were probably like, "Ah, you're probably going to be discussing something else." So, not too
Yeah.
sure.
How was the conversation good?
I enjoyed it. The audience seemed to enjoy it. We had more people talking than normal, which is good because Mike has been primarily keeping me company, which I appreciate. It always takes a little bit of a while, even though we have been streaming now for quite a while. We have our regulars that talk, but I have noticed sometimes like new people like they just prefer to like lurk, which is fine because like I do that in YouTube videos too. I'm a lurker, so I watch a lot of content and I sometimes lurk. I rarely talk, but just before you asked about coming on, I was contemplating coming off because like we'd gone over 2 hours and like conversation had like dried up, so I was like, we'll see. But it always helps when you're streaming with someone. So
Yeah, I just randomly saw you because I popped in to do
mhm.
Daryl's Gloria Patri, and I was like, wait, he's live? I'm
I
gonna
saw
see
your
what he's doing.
I saw your message come through at the same time, but I couldn't react because I'm on stream. And by that stage, Colton had gone, so like I couldn't look down and stare at my phone. But also, my dog is going buck mad here. He is literally just rolling around. I have no idea what's wrong with him. Like he's been really high energy recently, um, which is good in one sense, but in another sense, bro, he'd drive you mad.
Yeah.
He'd drive you mad.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Now, don't give anything away, but you have seen what's coming out next Monday, haven't you?
Probably, but
In the members area, begins with an O.
mm, oh wait. Yes, I don't remember what it is. But I remember I saw it and I was like, oh
Hmm. Well, that's coming out on Monday, so I'll be excited to release that. The only reason it's coming out on Monday is I'm waiting for something to arrive to accompany it, shall I say? But then there'll be a little bit of a benefit for my audience. So,
I might have a little something that I'm working on for you to put up.
oh, good, good. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, most of my articles in Substack from now on will not be by me. I now have a team of writers, thankfully. They are going to be producing content fairly regularly. There is a good few of them. There's more to be announced. I've only announced the first three. Rolo, what on earth are you doing, man? He's literally just fighting with himself here.
I heard that one.
Yeah, what are you doing?
These dog things.
His tail's literally why I better be careful because if I talk to him too much, I'm not joking. He will jump over here and send the
Mhm.
laptop flying. But yeah, anyway, there's now a team of writers that will be on my Substack that will be putting out content for me. So you are now you always would have seen varied content on my Substack anyway, but you will now see even more varied, because there will be women writing there, there'll be men writing there, and they're obviously going to be tackling different topics. And before anyone gets themselves up in arms, the women are writing to other women, so please calm down.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. It gives me more free time now to work on YouTube, because that's what I was talking to Colton about. YouTube is the platform I neglect the most, because like it's a hobby for me. So like we often end up doing live streams rather than me putting out videos, because bro, I'll be honest, like I'm just not a YouTuber. Like I don't enjoy the process of recording a video, editing it, and then putting it up. It's painstaking.
Yeah.
I just think all the time I'm editing, all I can think to myself is I could have had like a paragraph or X amount of pages written by now. And yeah, it's just not a trade off I enjoy doing. But because we're moving now further into like the debate scene, bro, I've got some good debates. I was telling the audience there before you came up, I've got some good debates. I can't say, well, they are lined up, but lined up in the sense that we all know it's a nightmare to get two people to agree on a time, and then when
Mhm.
you factor in time zones and stuff, oh goodness, like I'm so
How's
glad.
how's the work on the next panel going? Or are we not supposed to talk about that?
Oh no, it's still there. It's just going to be smaller, because
Right.
12. I think 12 would have worked if people's internet weren't as bad as it was, unfortunately. But at the same time, it will remain smaller now, because organizing those 12 people on the same date and time, that was a nightmare. So
Yeah.
I don't fancy that. So in the future, yeah, there'll be smaller panels.
Yeah, I think I literally took the day off. And then I ended up just being a fill-in, you know?
So did a lot of people. Like I
Yeah.
felt really bad. Like obviously, like I'll not mention what went on, but like Gruff took the day off, and then he couldn't do the panel,
Right.
and then like I don't think he cared, because obviously he got the day off, but he lost out on a day's wage over it, and it was like, ooh, well,
I got paid for mine, so
I'm assuming he lost a day's pay. He never said. Like he might have a similar setup to you. Like he might have got paid, but I'm just saying. Like normally over here, like if you take a day off like that randomly and it's not a holiday, you'd be losing your pay. So
so the next one, have you have talked about it
mhm.
publicly before, right? So the next
Yeah,
one
it's
is
not
is
secret.
EO
I'm
is
just not naming the people involved, because
right.
they're
Okay, yeah.
not confirmed. So there's no point me saying, oh, such and such is coming, and then they're not going to be there.
So I actually have a question, and you can answer or not. Are you gonna have any like Coptic involved in that, or is it just EO
Only if
and
they
Rome?
sign up. Like I put the offer out there freely. Not freely as in it's advertised, but like I have mentioned before, I have Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox friends on X.
Yep.
I put it out to them. If you know people that would be interested and they're down for a discussion, bring them up. Um, so I don't know how far or how wide that is spread, but I do know that the people that are potentially coming on, they are excited and interested, but non-committal, because they're like, look, I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. I don't know if
Right. Yeah.
we'll see what way it works, but once we get it, it might just be two Roman Catholics, two Eastern Orthodox, and then Reverend Hansen and the other Paul said they want to come on alongside them. So there will be Protestant representation as well.
Hmm. Maybe I should take another day off. No.
You can if you want, but like, I'm not
I
gonna.
I want to take a day off all the time. I have like 160 hours of PTO built up that I need to use anyways.
Well, then you could take a few days off for that.
Yeah.
Take a holiday. Go in a jacuzzi.
I think if I take a vacation, I'm just gonna sit right here where I'm at and just read for a week straight.
You do that, I'm turning into a beetroot over here. Like, I don't know how long someone needs the heat on. I know it's getting wintry over here, but like, because the worst thing is, I'm on the top floor of the house. Heat obviously rises, so like the majority
Rises,
of
yeah.
the heat comes up into my room, and it's like, and the other problem is because it is actually genuinely so cold outside. Like if I open the window, it's just going to be like I'll be chill. And this the cameras flip, so it look weird. I'll be chill on this side and like a beetroot on this side, and it's like, but yeah, no, that panel's still going ahead. That's one of the things that is primarily taking up my time. There's other things I can't mention yet. That it's only some of it's available to members. Other things haven't even been announced to members yet because I learned my lesson a long time ago. I'm someone who gets very excited about announcing things, but the problem with that is something will inevitably go wrong, and then you have to say to people, "Ah, this isn't happening." So
Yeah. Like the last debate that was postponed, what, twice or three times?
yeah, well, unfortunately, I'll not name who or what caused it, but yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
that debate finally happened because it was getting to a stage where, yeah, it might not have happened. So
I am too, and I was only able to catch literally like the last. I think y'all were saying y'all's goodbyes whenever I finally popped in, and I'd gone back and rewatched it. It was a really good debate. It was actually really good. I think that Paul presented his position very well, from my own understanding of his position. I think that he did really good, and then also my own understanding of Tim's position.
I
I
think
thought
Tim surprised a lot of people.
I think Tim did really really good, and like as debates go, no matter which side I have more of a bias towards,
Hmm.
um, I don't really want to say that either one of them won because I have disagreements with both sides, but I think that I man, Tim as an underdog, at least in my opinion beforehand, ugh, I think that if you had to put a winner on a pedestal, I think Tim.
I think Tim surprised people. I
He
uh,
did. He did.
I have been asked by multiple people who I think won. I am not going to say that for two reasons. I am close to both gentlemen, but
Yeah,
also
same.
it
Well, not
would
same,
be,
but
yeah, but you know them. But it
yeah,
would also be unprofessional of me if I want to continue in the role of moderating debates because in future
right,
people are going to look at this and go, okay, he'll be fair during the debate, but then he's going to be biased after the debate, and I don't want that becoming my reputation for that reason because even if I'm fair to you during the debate, a lot of people still won't want me as a moderator because they'll be like, but yeah, then he's just going to say whoever won. And the thing is, not that I have a huge influence, but if you're there as the moderator and you say such and such won, it will sit in people's mind and go, ah, even the moderator thinks this person won. So like Sawyer asked me who I thought won, and I was like, look, I'm gonna have to watch it again, like as an actual viewer, while I'm not, because like during the moderation, like I am very good at turning my bias off. I can be very just this is business. But even afterwards, the more I thought about it, I was like, sorry, I'm not giving you an answer to that. You can think one way or the other. Like you might even think you know what my winner is. I can guarantee you won't know who my winner is.
right. See, I knew. I'll I'll say this much about it. I knew. Let's just kind of air quote that. I knew where Paul was going to come from on it because in my tradition, I would say that uh, what Paul presented is closer to what I would believe,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are differences, obviously.
For sure.
Um, like there's some things where I wouldn't go as far as him, but everything else is pretty much in line. So like let's just say that I was in Paul's corner, and honestly, if if I wasn't able to detach myself from the situation and watch it as an unbiased viewer, I would still I would just be like, oh, Paul won hands down, But I'm not that way. I'm able to remove myself and hear people, and it, and that's why I said it the way that I did. As a debate goes, I think that Tim, man, Tim, if you're watching or if you watch this eventually, you did a fantastic job, brother. You did great. I don't agree with your position, but you represented it in such a way
Hmm.
publicly that I think you kind of stole the show. And I respect your position maybe a little bit more. I still don't agree with it, but
Hmm. Which is what debate should do. Like,
yeah.
I am a fan of actual moderated debate, right?
Hmm.
Where things are civil. It's just the argumentation that is being attacked. Things got a little bit spicy in their Q&A, which it should have. But
Yep.
neither Paul nor Tim took pot shots at each other's character. Now,
Yeah.
the reason I bring that up is there's a group of YouTubers online that do debates, but it's not an actual formal laid out debate. It's like 12 talking heads all on a panel yelling over the top of one another. You believe in XYZ and da 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 da. That's not a debate. No one can hear anything.
It's just 12 straw mans going against each, or well, it's a 6v6 straw man, and
Oh,
it's
sometimes it's 12v12.
uh,
Now, don't get me wrong. I watch some of those channels. I'm not going to name them because I'm not trying to like put anybody on blast. I watch some of them because it's entertaining in a way, but I would never come away from one of those debates and be like, that was edifying, that was good. I've had people comment, like, my channel's still small, so I obviously don't get like a ton of YouTube comments, but even as small as we are, I've had some people be like, that was informative, that was really helpful. But on X, I have had a lot of people been like, oh, that actually really opened my eyes to what Anglicans believe. I had a lot of people did not know what Anglicans believed on that. That's what a debate should do. It should inform you, even if you don't agree. Because none of those people came to me and were like, oh, I'm converting to Anglicanism. I didn't know they believed that. But what they did say is, oh, I didn't know they believed that. Because they had either been told something false or they thought they knew and they were like, ah, wait, I had no clue.
yeah. Well, even me, and I would say I'm fairly comfortable using the word that I dove into Anglicanism for a bit whenever I was trying to honestly figure out what I was, like that's the only way I really know how to put it. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
am I? And it really came down, and this is God's honest truth. It really came down for me, like super conservative Anglicans or Presbyterian. Obviously, we know which one won out because I have an issue with some tradition being seen as works, and I know that that's a whole different thing. But um,
Mm-hmm.
there was even some things whenever we did that panel, and I had to step in because of somebody's internet connection, where
I am
I
listening,
paid,
by the way, Zach. I'm just in the background here.
yeah, where I paid more attention, especially whenever Paul was up. I paid a lot more attention to him, honestly, than I did anybody else because um, I pretty well knew everybody else's position. Also, Cooper's was one that I really paid attention
Yeah,
to. I think Cooper did a really good job.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Paul and Cooper, really like it. It really shocked me the way they presented and were confident, calm, and just said what they believe and didn't have any, like
And
they didn't hold anything back. And I learned a lot about both of their positions and their
you know
beliefs
why
and
though?
them as people.
Yeah, but do you know why? Do you know why stuff like that is impressive to us as humans? We're all guilty of this, including you and me. We can be guilty of thinking, I know that person's position.
Yep.
I don't need to hear it. Then when you hear another person who comes from that stream or that line of thought and they articulate it, you might sit back and go, oh, yeah, I didn't know anything. Or what
Hmm.
I thought I knew was a partial truth. And I think for some people, Paul opened their eyes. Not necessarily that they agreed with him. I'm going to make that clear. Some of the people that messaged me messaged in almost like a hang on a minute, this sounds a bit works based. And I was like, it's not if you understand what Paul is saying. I know the words
Yep.
sound like he is saying, oh, you need to do XYZ in order to. That's not what he is saying, though. So whenever a couple of people got back to me then on that, they were like, okay, I re-listened and it's not what I thought, but I still don't agree. And I was like, that's okay. You don't have to. But now if someone asks you what does an Anglican believe, you might now be able to be a lot more charitable and say, look, I'm probably going to butcher this, but to my knowledge, this is what they believe. Please go and check that out.
Yeah.
As we're beforehand, I know like I've done this in the past when I was younger. You can think you know what another tradition says, and you'll go and repeat it. And then now, much to my shame, later in life, I look at things where I'm like, oh, I told such and such that, X believes this. And it's like, oh. So it grates on me now. That's why I always make it clear. Like, whenever people ask me, and like you've seen the comments, like I get emails on it too, people will message. And I'll not name the lady in particular, but you know who I'm referring to. She often asks theology questions, especially in stream, and she'll say, what does this group believe? I appreciate that she trusts us in that, but that's why I'll often say I think it would be better if I brought up a whatever to explain their view, right?
Right.
I'm done trying to. Not saying I'm never going to give a rough overview, but I am certainly never going to sit here now and be like, this is what this group believes, if it's genuinely not what they believe. Now, someone will probably pop in and be like, oh, well, you just said Mormonism believes. Yes, I have studied Mormonism and Islam for years. I know very well what they believe, right? There's a difference there. I'm talking about whenever people say things that they're just, that, like, they have a rough idea. Like, think about how many times you might have heard someone say this is what Baptists believe in the Lord's Supper, and then you speak to someone like Colton and be like, what do you believe in the Lord's Supper? And he's like, I say it's spiritual presence. Most people will be like, what? I thought Baptists believe in. Yeah, because you're misrepresenting. That's the
Hmm.
that's the thing. Plus there's differences within camps as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's 100%, especially with the Baptists. And I'm not gonna harp on them, but like Baptists have, I would say they probably more than most, and this I don't think that this is bashing anybody, but Baptists in general probably run the gamut of any idea of what's going on more than any other tradition. But that's because, and here's a joke. This is totally a joke. It's that there's more Baptists than there are people. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different kinds of Baptists out there, um, and you never really know what they believe until you talk to them, and that's why you need to be. And I sometimes have an issue with this. If anybody on here who's watching knows me and has seen my hot takes, I have a few, where I can be straw man in somebody and think that I'm steel man in their position,
Yeah.
and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, if Colton's still watching, I don't know if he is. He can comment and
He's away with the family, so I doubt it.
okay.
He
Well,
might watch
so
later, but
I had a I said had I have still a pretty heavy hot take on something where Colton would have been involved. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name it here because it's not the place to do so.
mm-hmm.
But um, Colton actually had a conversation with me, and I feel like whenever you actually ask somebody questions instead of just saying something, and I was guilty of this because I just said something, right?
Yep.
Now
Will
I
do.
wasn't referring to his position in particular, but he shared with me some things of his particular position that I was unaware of.
Mm,
Because honestly, and this is going to sound really terrible of me, I probably didn't care, but now I do because Colton asked questions, and then that led to me asking questions. And
yeah.
honestly, I gained a brother. Not to say that I didn't think that he wasn't previously, but I think that because of that hot take and Colton being somebody who's going to ask questions, um,
Colton is
he's such a brother. I don't know another way to put it.
he's well. I would say this. Colton's charitable. However, what I would
Very.
say is Colton's also a man, and I'll allow Colton to address this on his own because we didn't get into it today, and I know we will address it in the future. But like Colton is also a man that has his own convictions. He is bound by his conscience, and he has to follow his conscience, otherwise he sins.
Yeah.
And he is getting to the stage though, but where he feels more attacked by his Christian brothers than he feels attacked by non-Christians, and that's a tremendously sad affair. Like that is not the atmosphere that we should be trying to cultivate between brothers. We have
Well,
differences, sure, but this line of like Baptists aren't Christian and stuff, it's dumb and it needs to stop.
yes. Yep. I 100% agree that it does need to stop. I
Yeah.
don't think that.
I understand what's being said. I understand it.
Yep.
Way in which it's said though is horrific, and
Well, it's
it's
because there's not a good way to say it, and whenever you try to say it in a good way, which I tried, um, it still comes off as pretty terrible until you ask questions.
yeah, but it doesn't come off um as succinctly. I'll put it that way because yes, it's going to take more words to get to what you mean. But like the last thing people should be doing on X has been like Baptists aren't Christian. Like that's just it's unnecessary. It's divisive and it's just stupid in my mind. I get what's being said, but you're not articulating yourself well. And if you think, and I'm not talking about you, Zach, I'm saying this in
No,
general to the audience, if you think that you're one day going to stand before the Lord and you'll be able to say, yeah, but Lord, you know what I meant, and God will be like, yeah, I know what you meant, don't worry. No. Uh-uh.
if if the Lord returns tomorrow and we're called up and raised to to meet Christ in the sky, I will lock arms with Colton 1,000,000%. Like, and
Yeah.
I think that's where people get lost is the actual charity. And at the end of the day, he is a brother. I'm using him as a representation of all of them, and that may not be the smartest thing, but
Yeah.
like I don't have any ill will towards anybody who is a gospel believing, Bible believing, the scriptures inerrant, we're fallible. You know what I mean? Like if you believe in core things,
hmm
you're my brother, you're my sister.
I just think, unfortunately, because of the nature of what's happening on X at the moment, there's a lot of people that are making it seem like Baptists aren't our brethren, and I disdain that for
Yep.
many reasons. But where I disdain it even more is where I see it hurting a guy like Colton, where I see him
Yes.
posting that he's receiving death threats for not baptizing his children. Like you need to go and repent if you're issuing death threats to a man over something like that. Stop it. I don't
Yep.
buy care what your convictions are. I don't care. That is ridiculous.
As somebody who's been on both sides of that fence, I grew up a Credo Baptist, and I'm now a uh, covenant baptism person. I don't really like calling it infant baptism because I don't think that's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a covenant baptism, but baptize your babies. Um,
Boy.
if if anybody, oh man, I don't think I have good words to. If anybody has anything bad to say about that, send me a direct message. I'll gladly have a charitable conversation with you about it. But come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
water gets you wet. I'll leave it there.
It's just stupid in my mind because like
It's so dumb.
9 times out of 10, when you push some of those guys that push that particular stance, they end up nuancing it to a point where it's like, yeah, no one would disagree with that. Now just go and say it the way you just said it to me. But they're like, nah, because it doesn't go as viral. It's not as catchy. It's not as poppy.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're grieving another brother and sister in Christ. Like, I'm not going to name the name, but one guy who has said it, not the death threat part, but like the other part, has affirmed that he sees Colton as a brother. And I'm like, okay, so you're now willingly sinning against your brother by grieving him. To which they went and made up, and that statement hasn't been said since.
Hmm.
Praise the Lord. But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes as Christians, we divide over the dumbest things, and we grieve our brothers and sisters over the dumbest things. And goodness gracious, folks, uh, each of us on our own have enough to answer to before the Lord whenever we stand before Him. Stop piling stuff on. Stop it. And I'm speaking to myself too. Like, I've said many a dumb thing, both online and offline. Um, that's why I say one of my daily prayers is, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. Like, sometimes that's what needs to be said.
Right.
Also,
It's so simple. That's one of my favorite passages whenever I think about prayer and just me being a sinner. I'm gonna beat my breast and say, "Lord, have mercy on me, a
mm,
sinner."
yeah. Just before we continue on there, I'm not going to name your name, my friend, but thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. Zach, a stream ago I did there. Oh no, wait, you joined that stream? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
Yeah.
guy that asked me to get the QR code?
Yep.
I finally got the QR code at the bottom, so if
Yep.
people do want to give, they can. Thank you very much, my friend, for that donation. It's not like YouTube, so it won't appear on stream for you, but I can see it here. Well, you probably just heard
We
the
did just hear it. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you very much. It comes up and buy me a coffee, and then you get an email copy of the receipt. So thank you very much for the donation. I really do appreciate it. Folks, please don't feel like you have to give, but it is there if you wish to give. I do appreciate it. But sorry, what I was trying to say is this is not like YouTube, where you send super chats and it'll appear up with your message or anything. I don't have access to that until I hit 500 subs. However, we got a nice little boost of subs recently, Zach, so we're on our way to that 500 goal.
Yeah. If you're watching and you're not subbed to the YouTube channel, no matter what platform you're on right now, go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, please.
Please do; it does help.
Once
Folks,
once we hit 500, there's things that open up that we're able to do that will make streams more interactive.
and actually more entertaining too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there'll be ways that we can interact with the audience in a better way. Like I'm partly doing it here through EV Mux, but as you note, the chat bubble is not YouTube's chat bubble, so it's a lot slower. Things don't necessarily come in real speed. In order to give, you have to go to a separate platform. If I was to put a poll up right now, you have to follow a link to go to a separate platform again. There's so many things that once you hit 500, YouTube makes things a lot easier for you. Um, so it's not us aiming for like a ridiculous goal of being like, oh, I want 10,000 subscribers, folks. I don't care if I hit 500 and stay at 500 for the rest of my YouTube career, as long as I can get access to the features I used to have. In fact, here's one better. Once you hit 500, even if you go under, if I even went down to one subscriber, I would still have access to those features.
Yeah,
So
you'd still keep the perks.
yeah, so and it's just so annoying because I was saying this previously with Colton, and I know people are probably sick of me talking about it, but like I do want to promote it as well because like I don't think people realize how much a sub actually does help. It's actually a lot better to me than you giving money to the channel. Like a sub actually helps more.
Even just a like.
Yes, a like is good too, but the sub would help a lot more because here's the thing,
Yeah.
folks. We all have YouTube. Well, the majority of us have YouTube. If you sub to a channel and you don't interact for it for a while, YouTube will stop putting it in your For You page anyway. So you can remain blindly sub to a channel, helping out someone that you want to help out, and you don't have to be spammed or bothered by seeing that channel, if that makes sense. So sometimes you hear people saying, "Oh, I like that content, but like I don't want to subscribe because I'll constantly be notified." That's not necessarily the case with YouTube. You can turn notifications off, you can subscribe, and then if you don't interact with the channel for a while, YouTube won't bombard you with my stuff. So you don't have to worry about being spammed. So
As you can actually subscribe and then immediately mute if that's what you want to do.
yeah, wouldn't bother me a bit. Like obviously I want you to continue to watch the content, but
Yeah.
if part of the thing you want to do is just help out and you can't give financially, then perfectly. But I don't want to. On Livian, what are you referring to? Giving or subscribing?
Subscribing.
He already is subscribed. The big idiot.
I don't know. He must be high on spam sandwiches.
Oh, he's hanging something right now, and I'll not tell you what.
It's all that paint from uh his tanks.
Oh no, let's just say it may be something else.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say I would warn him away from that something else.
Oh, never mind. It's not what I was thinking.
Oh no, it is, but I'm warning him away. He'll know what I'm
Oh,
referring to.
wait, it is what I think, but you're warning him away?
Yeah.
It must not be what I think then.
Oh, I think it is.
Does it involve Walmart?
Yeah.
Why are you warning him away? We're gonna have to do a not live
Yeah.
chat here.
Let's not put onion lovers' business out on display. Yes, I shall do, my friend. I'll drop it with you now, and then you can hop up. I will probably go for another little bit, and then we will go private.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks. Anyway, what I was saying is like the goal of hitting 500 subs. It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot to what I'm doing, and it's a better way for you to give than given financially. Not that I don't appreciate the financial giving. I really really do. That's why, going back to what I was saying a moment ago, brother, thank you very, very much. I'm not going to pop your name up on screen unless you want me to, but knowing you, you will probably say no to that, so I'm just going to leave it private. But thank you for the donation. But anyway, yes, sorry, we went way off tangent there because I was trying to reintroduce the QR code. But what were we discussing? Oh yeah, Baptists and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
Just being charitable to each other in general, not necessarily to Baptists. That was a joke.
yeah. I don't know. I did just think Christianity, there's a lot of things that we can debate in house for sure. Some of it gets heated, and it should because it is important. But honestly, it grieves my heart when I see us having actual enemies in our walls that are seeking to unalive us, like Islam. And all Christians are focused on is sending death threats to each other over the matter of baptism. You have your priorities not only backwards, you're sitting on them. And
Yeah.
I'm being polite when I say you're sitting on them. But
I'll just save my words on that.
yeah, it's just dumb to me. Like it's just we have so many external threats, and yet we're here kicking lumps out of each other. It's stupid. But anyway, folks, we are nearly at 3.5 hours. We've got 122 watching. Thank you all for watching. If 122 of you went and subscribed, if you're not already, that would be a huge boost. In fact, that's fantastic. If 122 of you go subscribe, let me hit 500. Once I hit 500, you can immediately unsubscribe. How about that for a deal? Look at that. Did I? Yeah, I replied to 11. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw that comment again. It's because I've, oh, another donation. Thank you, folks. I do not see who that one's from, though. It's a non.
We will find you. I'm
I,
just kidding.
I,
I don't know if you
appreciate
can.
it. I don't know with anons. I don't know. I don't use. I've had buy me a coffee for nearly a year, but like I don't use it a lot because Gabe set up a donation feature on my actual website, and it's not buy me a coffee. So, but I appreciate the donation, whoever you are. Thank you, my friend. So now, does the obviously it's working, but like, Zach, can you scan the QR code?
Well, I'm using my phone to
Oh,
record right now, so
well, it's obviously working anyway because we've had two donations. But I wondered if it was too small initially, but it mustn't be because I'm assuming that's how people are doing it. Either that or they're typing the link in. I don't know. Ah, do you know who could tell us? Olivia, let us know if you can scan the QR code.
I can because I can copy it, and if I copy it, I can put it in a file and then scan it that way. So
Yeah, but that will automatically make it bigger. I want to know are the two people who no, they can't comment because then it'll tell them who it is. I just want to know if people are typing the link in or they're using the QR code because if the QR code's too small, we'll have to fix that.
and Livin said he can.
So is that you can do that or you can and it's working? I'm not asking you to donate. I just want to know if it works.
Donate anyways.
No, don't. He does enough for the channel.
Give us all your money.
No.
These are jokes to Livin.
Rolo, set. I told you he would try and jump over here after a while. Um, he says, but to be fair, I have a large screen. I can, and I think it's working. Awesome. Good to know. I assumed it would be. Anyway, it's just looking at it on my screen, it looks fairly small, but I'm sure. Oh no, actually, on I just realized I've got my laptop to the left. It's not that small. Anyway, folks, I am probably going to hop off within the next 8 minutes unless there's any topics that the audience wants to cover here. For those of you that have already subscribed, thank you. For the two people that give donations tonight, thank you. We appreciate you. Your money will go straight back into stuff for the channel, whether that be debates or, pardon me, projects that I am working on behind the scenes that will see the light of day within the next number of months. Things that will benefit people, I believe. So, bro, I wish people could see him right now. He is just posted up here glaring. What's wrong with you?
My man.
Good boy. Do you know what I
Hang
love
on
about
just 1 second. Well, you can keep talking. I'm going to be muted a second.
you do that? What I was going to say is what I love about bigger dogs is they love getting firm pets. Like if you try and like soft stroke a Rottweiler, they kind of walk away. But like if you firmly pat their head, they just sit there like half falling asleep. It's quite funny. This big dote is almost 5, aren't you? Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Right, folks. I don't think we're getting any more questions. I will stick around for the next 7 minutes just so we can hit the 3:30 mark. Not that it matters too much, but it just looks a little bit cleaner. Thank you all to who have been watching. Our numbers are still creeping up, which is good to see. But Rumble is still live. Good to know. And we have a couple of viewers over there. That's nice. Rumble's slowly growing as well. But anyway, folks, unless you have any questions that you want to get in within the next 6 minutes, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, I am just going to be talking to myself until Zach is free to reply. So,
What am I replying to?
oh, I'm just telling people like I'm going to hang out until we hit 3:30 here. But unless they have questions, I'm just going to be talking to myself until you're free to talk.
Yeah, I had to show my Meemaw how to work a cell phone.
That's okay. That's standard.
She got stuck in sleep mode and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I was just going to say in general that's standard for older people. It's kind of like, hey, show me how this works. Do you want to make a quick appearance? That's not what I meant, bro. But okay, come here, come here.
King Rolo.
Who's that? No. He struggles with knowing where like screens are. Rolo's like, oh, where? Hey, big head. Come here, come here. Stand. There, good boy. There, look. The audience sees you. Yeah. You've even got your own merch too, big head.
What
By
a
the way,
fat head.
I know he's got a huge head. Meanwhile, I think Olivian's in love with his eyes. Hello, big head. He absolutely reeks at the moment, folks, off like ointment. He hurt his foot recently, and he's got an ointment that I have to place on him. Oh, boys, it's like it's one of those ointments where I can't put my finger on what it smells like other than to say that it's medicinal, but like I can guarantee you if you smelled it everybody would be like, oh yeah, I know what that is. But like he smells so bad recently of ointment, but his foot is healing well, thankfully. So onion lover, them eyes, heart.
He's talking about mine.
I don't think so, bro. I think we all know here out of everyone Rolo's the handsomest. Now, folks, while I am here, actually, why don't I go ahead and show you? We do have some Rolo merch. If you're interested, I normally wear my Rolo merch on stream, but I don't have it with me tonight. Now, let me get to view all because sometimes this goes a little bit pear-shaped.
You're gonna have to add it.
It's not up yet. That's why I'm purposely doing that.
Oh, okay.
Because before I've shown certain things that I didn't want to, so I have to do it behind the scenes first.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I'm not going to dox myself. So here's some of our newer merch. This is a little bit more Irish based because a couple of the Irish UK viewers have been saying we want
You
some
probably
more.
want to do full screen with that.
Did I not just put it on full screen?
You put it on
Put it
stage.
on the wrong. Yeah, I put it on the wrong place. Apologies.
Ooh, I actually like that mug right there.
Well, I was going to show you that now in a minute. Now, this stuff here is primarily more for my Irish UK viewers because obviously they're going to get more enjoyment out of it. This one is meant to be more like a little touristy. Did that follow or did I?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Oh goodness, I know it's just the last four of my card, but I shouldn't have had that there.
Oh, I didn't even notice it. I was staring at the mug. My bad.
I pointed it out, which is even worse. I think it's fine.
They got a lot of guessing to do.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to make sure I didn't include any other information, so I'm just watching the stream back. Hang on.
You could just like log out and then bring it back up.
Well, I didn't even know it was going to do that, so that's part of the problem.
Well, yours is gonna stay logged in, obviously.
No, but I mean me clicking in to see it, like I don't think.
Oh yeah, that is weird because there was no.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it didn't reveal anything, thankfully. I mean, I
Okay.
showed you the last four. Folks, some Christmas wrapping paper. We have Rolo here. We have some Christus Rex wrapping paper. This stuff has been hard to keep in stock, I will say. Nice Christmassy colours, Zach. This was our Halloween. Now, this was requested by Moon Girl, so that's dead and gone. until next Halloween. This is her shirt, which is a collab with Skinny Tie. So if you want to support him, you can. This was requested by a lady. I'm not going to mention her name, but she wanted some Rolo merch for her kids. So there's some Rolo merch. There's her Gabe merch. It's more Rolo merch.
Come get me, you won't.
Yeah, that's some merch for another lady. I'll not mention what that is. She requested those.
What is that one?
What one?
That one.
Here?
Yeah.
I can't click into it right now.
Right.
Because I'll show it, but this is the Creed.
Is
I
it
believe
the
one
is it the
God.
Nicene Creed?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say that's too much for the apostles, but which one is it?
Nice thing.
Oh, I might actually have to buy that.
It was made for a lady we were talking about. I don't think she's got around to buying it yet because she's. I'll not mention that, but yeah, she wanted those made. She also wanted Catholic kind of definition on a T-shirt as well. So
Oh, I'm gonna have to buy that one.
so yeah, there's some good merch on there. I'm not going to go through all these, but this is the T-shirt I wear, obviously in an adult size. But I really love the quality of these T-shirts. This is Saks merch. I don't buy this pint glass at the moment, folks. I still have to fix this so that it's more of a see-through feature because it'll print better.
Oh,
But
we have to fix that hat too, by the way.
why? What happened?
I'll I'll show you after.
Oh, okay.
You can see it. It's just very. Let's just say that the way it came out is very small, and there's really nothing to read.
Was it embroidered or printed?
Yes, it's embroidered.
That might be the problem. That might be too small for embroidery, so we might
Yeah,
need to change that. But yeah,
yeah.
the rest of Saks merch, but don't buy the hat and don't buy the pint glass. But the rest of it's good. We may update this mug as well, but that one's not bad. So, but yeah, also drank milk. That's all I have to say. But anyway, folks, that's enough of that. Let me come off the stream now because I've been going for 3.5 hours. Just going to pop me up here for a second, Zach, just to do my little outro, and then I will pass over to you. Anyway, folks, thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate all you who were interacting in the comments, those of you who have liked and subscribed. Thank you to the two very kind people that donated. I really do appreciate it. If you do wish to donate, the QR code is there. The link is also in the chat, I believe. And you can also find my link on my X and my YouTube about pages. Thank you very much, folks. I'm going to just pass over to Zach, and then he can do his promo for his own merch.
Yeah. Well, really, I'm not even gonna do one for my own, just for all of them. If you want to help out, subscribe to the YouTube so that we can have more features in the future to make streams more interactive, um, more enjoyable, entertaining. Um, Follow us on social media, and now I'm going to be distant for a little bit from social media, just taking a little bit of a sabbatical from that. But yeah, follow all the guys, all the regulars, and
Yeah.
thank you for watching.
And again, folks, I do want to point this out. Layman started as me. Layman will not be continuing as me. The goal for Layman was always to find not only like-minded individuals, but to encourage people. Sorry, let me just remove this so it's just us back on the screen here. The goal was always to find like-minded individuals who wants to equip others in the kingdom, that wants to write for the kingdom, do videos, equip other believers. So it's not a me thing here. It's an us thing. So Zach, Gabe, Onion Lover, even though he's not always on stream, but he's here. Um, then we've got all the new writers coming over to the Substack. I am now at a stage where, because people have invested in me, whether through prayer, financial giving, whatever it is, I am now at a stage where I can start to branch Layman out a little bit more now to welcome in other voices, to give them a platform. And if at any stage they want to go off and do their own platform, good. I welcome that. That's what we want. That's what we want to see more of. If you're interested in being involved with us, contact us and let us know. We do want to grow. We do want to expand. And if you've got talents, whether it's in writing, doing videos, debates, whatever it is, let us know. But if you do want to support us, there is the QR code there. There is the merch, all that nice stuff. But anyway, folks, I've rambled enough. Thank you very, very much for watching. Good night and God bless.
God bless. Love y'all.